We're connecting.
Action.
We're connecting to the YouTubes.
YouTube is now a thing. Maybe. It might not be a thing anymore.
There we go. We're live. We have a new setup here. A new day. We have right now Swanee and Noble with us. We kind of
it's just me.
We kind of switched the day because we noticed that scrambling on a weekend is the most annoying thing ever.
And it's also Mother's Day, conveniently enough.
Yeah, and we didn't want to stream on Mother's Day. We want to make sure our mothers are happy and carefree and full of roses and champagne and all that bullshit.
Or Bud Light in some cases.
Yeah, that too.
It's my day off, so yeah, that's probably what we'll be doing.
But so we got this new layout here, you see, and I kind of adopted this from like a streaming aspect, a gaming streaming aspect here, and this was kind of recommended to me by Red after he saw how I had like my Twitch stream laid out. Like I have this over here, except for the number on this thumbnail happened to be in my normal corner where I had my webcam, so I just swapped it this time. So from now on, I'm going to say, yeah, swap the number over to the other side so I can have it left to right, because that's how the eye naturally perceives things, is left to right. And as manga fans here, we really don't care either way.
No, I mean, why bother caring when you have to switch up every time you want to read something?
Right. I mean, oh, wait, I'm actually reading a novel. Shit, I need to retrain my brain for a second. Okay, good. Got it.
Which, like, luckily for some of us, it's a lot easier than David.
Yeah, well, I sit in my bed and read manga before I go to sleep, or I sit and read a book. It just depends on my fucking mood. But
see, I've just been reading like regular novels lately, and it's like, nope, I need to get back to reading manga because now there's probably a bunch of chapters on a bunch of manga that I need to read, and I'm not reading them.
Yeah, well, I mean, always support the official release, but Manga Rock is an option.
Yep, and hopefully after a while I might be able to get myself a full volume. Yeah. Or not a full volume, a full set.
So are you going to buy the Full Metal Alchemist Full Metal Edition or whatever the hell that version's called?
The Full Metal Alchemist Philosopher's Stone Edition. That includes all the volumes of the manga, every single volume of the light novel, the entire original run of the original anime, the entire Brotherhood run, all the movies for both sets, and the live-action movie.
Debating to kick you from the server. Debating on kicking you from the server right now, buddy.
No balls. You'll have no show. Wahahaha.
I hated the fucking live action movie. I mean, it wasn't.
It's not a horrible thing. Left to finish it.
It's not horrible. It's just they condensed so much, and then the way they did.
From Soul Crushing Factory, it's Red Alexander.
Wait! You're dead.
Red has appeared.
You're dead. Get out.
I'm just leaving. No, I'm just leaving break right now. I just wanted to come in and troll you guys. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Kick him from the server.
No. I need more than one admin.
He's dead. The dead don't rise.
I'm going to find out who's performing some necromancy here and just ban them from the server. But yeah, Red's working at a factory now. And factory means long hours, not a lot of free time, and unfortunately today he had to actually work. He was on his break, or leaving his break there, so he came in to troll us for a second, but and he kind of threw me off for a second, fucker.
Whereas Swanee is also working full-time now at Walmart, where I make much more money than what I did before, and they forced me to take an hour for lunch.
I remember the Walmart days.
It's really not that bad, though.
It's really not that bad to work in retail, but it's still annoying.
Just soul crushing.
I mean, retail itself can be horrifying, but I mean, the fact that they guarantee us a 1-hour break for lunch, and then, you know, I work 8 hours, that means they get 2 15-minute breaks as well, which are supposed to be uninterrupted 15-minute breaks as well.
Well, those breaks were always interrupted. What the hell are you talking about?
Dude, no, they go above and beyond to make sure that you get uninterrupted breaks.
If you have an interrupted break, you have to start your break over. At Walmart, it is a known thing. I can tell you that right now.
Not at Meyer.
Yeah, that's Meyer. This is We're talking Walmart,
Walmart's so
though.
afraid of getting sued, they'll make you do anything.
Or
Yeah.
not make you do anything.
You
They'll
sit
take-
over there
they'll
like
take the hit
Griff.
on the hour leave that they pay you, versus the lawsuit that could happen if you do work off while you're supposed to be on break.
Hmm. Maybe I
Yeah,
should
except
transfer.
that that hour break, hour lunch isn't paid for. They don't pay me for it.
Maybe I should transfer over there.
You should. It's pretty neat.
Yay, Walmart!
Because fuck this
I remember
shit.
unloading trucks and throwing things at people. It was great.
Planet Unity, we are not sponsored by Walmart.
No. But speaking of Walmart,
Coming to you from Walmart.
so Walmart in
Could be.
Canada might have leaked E3.
Oh, the Rage 2 thing.
The Rage 2 thing that we were talking about before the podcast started, as well as, well, we knew the Division 2 was coming. We knew that quite a few of these titles were actually in the making, or they're yearly titles, but what really interests me is the fact that we might have the name for the major expansion for Destiny. And Planet Unity as a whole knows my opinion on Destiny. It's not a very good one. That's why I'm kind of glad that Justin's not in here right now. So I can just shit on this.
He would tear you apart.
I mean, he's...
Well, not you specifically. He would tear Destiny apart.
Exactly. I mean, I love going on a rant about Destiny. I really do. Because
I just love going on rants.
that too. I mean, if I could be paid to rant, I would take that job in a heartbeat. That's kind of why I enjoy this. And that's why I enjoy...
Hashtag not monetized yet.
And yeah, that's why I enjoy the Azazel's Den, because I can go on a fucking tangent, you know, and I can have no filter. And that will lead to those videos probably never being able to be monetized. But
Although we should definitely take a bunch of different Swanee things and just make up live edits for them so that we already have them on hand.
Is
for
that
when
you,
I say
Justin?
Stupid.
Yeah, that's me.
Awesome. So we're talking about
Talking
the...
about Destiny.
Well, Justin has appeared.
I was just saying, I'm
Yeah,
kind of
fine.
glad he hadn't joined yet, but now that he's here, let's just tear this this Walmart leak apart.
Oh, okay.
The Destiny comment bit in particular here.
What about it?
So
Destiny.
I'm assuming this is the title for their major expansion, like they're taking King.
Okay.
Now you were saying that like you weren't as disappointed with Warmind,
Oh, yeah.
but I kind of feel like a lot of the mechanics that they had implemented in Warmind should have been saved for like a major expansion. But I can see why they need to save face at this point,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah, about those mechanics, the Masterworks upgrades per se, they're a really cool feature. But like you said, that they should be implemented for like a later expansion or a bigger one. It makes sense, but I guess they were kind of desperate at this point, and they were just trying to get something to attract the older fans or just more fans. So what were you gonna say, David?
I mean, we both know how I feel about Destiny at this point, and so does the channel. And
Interruption.
we also have the aspect that one of our main, contributors, Dragon, is a Trials carry kind of guy.
Actually, I believe he does it with a clan, from what I've seen.
Yeah, he does it with a clan. So
I mean, that's what Trials is basically. It's just
Exactly.
clans versus clans.
exactly. So it's just like we've seen, both sides of this here. We know that I used to, really enjoy Destiny. I'm kind of disappointed at what Destiny 2 was. It was just like they re-released vanilla Destiny in a sense. So I'm hoping that Comic can reinvigorate a lot of that lost potential. But I'm also fed up with Bungie's bullshit at this point.
Yeah, I could kind of say the same thing, but I know the developers for Destiny 2, Visceral, and most importantly, they're definitely trying to make this game better from what Bungie has made this game into shit for the most part. I can see they're really trying. It's just, at this point, they're taking little step by step at this point. So you will see improvements in the long run, but it's gonna take a while.
Well, I mean, if we really think about it, can we just talk about when the game was good when it first released in beta? After that,
Destiny
went
2
way
or just
downhill.
the first one?
The original Destiny, when it first came
Okay.
out in beta,
Yeah.
it was actually it had so much promise. And
Actually,
then it crapped out the other half of it.
about that beta, the pre-orders for Destiny were never that good, especially the first one. Because I remember I played the beta for the first one. I got the pre-order for that, and all I got was like a reskin of a fucking Sparrow, and I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. I was like, "This is pathetic."
I mean, even that reskin was reskinned in the SRL, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I was like, it wasn't even worth the pre-order.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I pre-ordered Advanced Warfare originally, just so I could get the blacksmith shader.
Yeah.
Not knowing that shader would be console locked, essentially.
What do you mean console locked? I've never heard of that.
So I originally got the game for PS3.
Okay.
And
meaning if you tried to download the code, it wouldn't go for like a different console or something?
Yeah. Well, I had redeemed it on PS3 because I hadn't went to the next gen yet because I was.
Oh, so you couldn't port it over to the
I couldn't port that shit over. Nobody could, from what I understood.
It's fucking stupid.
Exactly. I mean, it's in my fucking inventory. It just says you cannot wield this item or some shit like that. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Are you trying to get at Destiny? Because Destiny has the same thing.
Yeah,
it has the item lock system as well. Because some of the things I have in Destiny 1, I can't port over to 2.
That was the blacksmith shader that you got for pre-ordering both games. They gave you that shader. You can redeem this within Destiny. It was some fucking, and I actually enjoyed the shaders better in 1 as well. But
Destiny shaders?
Yeah, it was literally like a pre-order exclusive shader for Destiny that you got for pre-ordering Advanced Warfare. I'm like, what the fuck is this? It was cool.
Wow.
It was cool, but I mean, I couldn't use it after I upgraded to when I got Taken King. I got it for PS4. So I'm like, well, I have the new console. I'm going to just rejoin the game here, and then half my fucking inventory, like my pre-order Sparrow, that shader, you know, a couple other things. I'm like, fuck, I can't use any of this.
I was crying at the point because like I had a lot of valuable stuff on my Destiny 1 account, including one of the rarest weapons, the Supremacy, because during this event it only came for like 2 weeks and it never has returned again in Destiny 1, and I was lucky enough to get it. Not only that, I had the Icebreaker, the very first Icebreaker, and like it's hard to get the Icebreaker nowadays. Even in Destiny 1 it was hard because you had to do like a certain event and that would drop. Back then you would get it from Xur, but it was very rare that Xur would sell the Icebreaker.
Oh yeah.
One of those days I hopped on Destiny, bought the Icebreaker, and I made duplicates and shit just for the hell of it. But I was pretty pissed off I couldn't port it to Destiny 2. I mean, it makes sense because you would require it to balance the game and stuff, blah, blah, blah. And they weren't going to go through the hassle of that anyways because they're freaking lazy, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now they can pretty much item lock because they locked down the one trace rifle in Destiny 2. And right now, according to their Twitter, they've basically item locked the Rat King because it's broken in the new DLC.
I have that one too.
And I'm like, if you can...
That was a pain in the ass to get. Rat King.
I never even bothered to get it, to be honest.
I got lucky. Actually, the way I got it was through, what was that thing they had? That beta activity where you'd go with randoms and stuff. Well, I did that, and we got really lucky, and we beat the timer and everything, because I think it was during the rings, where you had to jump through the rings and stuff to reset the timer. It was just it was a fucking
Was
mess
that one of the Nightfall things, or no?
Yeah, it was one of the Nightfall things.
Nightfall? Yeah.
Yeah, and they would have, like, a certain perk to it. So, like, if you want to add more time, you have to get, like, headshots or something, or jump through rings. It was really stupid stuff, like shoot cubes, like find some cubes and shoot them. And it was really hard because some of the bosses in the Nightfalls were just ridiculously tough. And if you die, there was another one where if you die, you lose time. So it was just like a big mess to get the Rat King. But honestly, the Rat King is a really good weapon, especially when you have multiple people with the Rat King. The damage stacks up.
Yeah, I'm aware. I went to try to get it, and I'm like, I keep dying. I'm like, fuck this. I'll wait till I have a competent team. And then
Every time you say Rat King, though, it kind of brings back Dark Souls all over again. So.
Oh, the poem that was it the Rat King poem or something?
It was the Rat King, like one of the guilds you could join, and literally you would port people in to fight the rat, and you would jump in and join them, and yeah, it was lots of bloodshed and love.
Lots of bloodshed and love. Sounds like a fucking new tag for a new Souls game. But yeah, I kept trying to, you know, find competent team. By the time I, you know, got in a guild or clan, essentially, I'm like, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because by that point, I'm just like, I'm so bored with Destiny 2. And then I never got the DLC, and then now they're bringing out this Comet. What are you expecting from it?
The content?
Yeah, this new rumored DLC. Essentially.
Oh, the new one coming out, not the Warmind one?
Nah. Well, I think we're going to be talking with Dragon for that, and hopefully he'll be cross-posting the video or. But this Comet, I'm curious if this is a thing to begin with, and because E3 leaks come and go every year, and we're all aware of this. So all of this that's on screen right now could be utter bullshit, and it just could be some Walmart employee making fake titles just to pass time.
It could be. I mean, it's the whole leak thing was from Canada, right? It was the Walmart Canada and stuff. And like Rage, the Rage company, which is honestly really shocking that they actually replied right away. So I feel like the game is still in development because they acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Rage 2 game, I'd really like to see Rage 2 come out because I really liked the first one. It was one of those games that really, I'm kind of picky on my single player games, but Rage was one of those good ones.
Yeah. And, I mean, a lot of these titles, like I said, are pretty much, you know, common knowledge at this point, like the Division 2, the yearly NBA game, the yearly WWE game. There's been rumors of, you know, there being a Forza Horizon or a Forza Core title. I mean, that's technically a yearly title at this point. You see one from each franchise rotate in and out. What's really shocking is, like, we have on here, we got the rumored fucking Tom Clancy title that's kind of been teased by the Wildlands DLC. We knew Last of Us was in development. We knew, you know, Division. We also had, like, the intriguing ones, you know, with the confirmation of, like, a Just Cause 4, essentially, here. Which, it's been a while since we saw a Just Cause title. There was another leak that came out today of, and I'd have to actually live edit the image up, but I do believe I saved it on my phone. It was one of a prequel Halo Wars title. I'm going to actually try to get that live edited up. But it's really odd to see, you know, a leak at this stage, because at this point we're kind of tired of stuff leaking.
Yeah. When is E3? Did that already pass?
E3 is in June, usually.
Okay.
So one more month. It should be beginning of June.
Yeah, it's usually like the first week of June.
Yeah, I'm looking at the titles right now.
I have the other one here. I'm going to live edit this one up. This is actually from the actual website, and it has like the watermark and all that.
Is that under topics list? Yeah.
Yeah.
Here it is. Okay. What the hell is this?
Yeah.
Halo Wars.
Yeah, Halo Wars.
That's weird.
Origins.
Huh. Origins.
Well, Halo Wars was a popular title for a while when it first came out, but then it just died off pretty quick.
Yeah, I had some friends play that too.
I mean,
I wasn't into Halo Wars in the beginning, but I got into it way later on.
I played the original one when it came out, and I love the RTS genre, but I kind of fall in and out of it because there's so many crappy titles in it, and then it really becomes like another FPS. And here we have the Halo Wars Origins.
What was that other Halo game? It was almost like Halo Wars, but it was it was like more like a dungeon crawler game.
Fuck. Let me pull up my Xbox because I had it.
I actually played the beta of it one time. The fuck was it called? Oh, it was called Halo Spartan Strike.
Yeah, there's two of those. They were
Was it
originally
like a top-down shooter or something?
yeah, it was kind of like a top-down shooter thing.
Hmm. Yeah, it was really weird because it really confused me at first because I thought that was actually like connected with Halo Wars, and I realized these are two different genres.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, they're both good. Just preferably, I'd rather play Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2 because I actually bought Halo Wars 2 the day it came out because I was just like at a time in my life where I was like really bored, and I was like, you know what, I'll try a new genre of games, and I purchased Halo Wars 2, and I really wasn't disappointed.
When I bought the laptop that we used for the channel,
That rainbow one,
yeah, the rainbow one. They gave me like this software bundle, with a bunch of games on it because
with the laptop.
yeah. So I'm like,
Wow.
cool. It came with like Halo Wars 2. It came with some bullshit, indie shooters.
CS:GO. No.
Some bullshit indie shooter and a lot of like, because it has an Intel processor and it was like an Intel, promotion. They threw all this at me. I'm like, cool. I'm probably never going to use this because I already bought Halo Wars 2 on Xbox One and it's, cross-platform. And it was all one code to redeem it all. And I had no interest in the rest of the game, so I literally just raffled that fucking code off. It was like $200
Wait,
worth
you
of...
actually like sold it or something?
I raffled it off in fucking a Facebook group. I'm like, I have no idea of what half of these titles are.
I've had a similar scenario with I bought the bundle of like Valve games.
Exactly.
And I got like a CS:GO code. It was for like the source CS:GO not CS:GO, the Counter-Strike source version.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really want it because I was like, it's another Counter-Strike game. So I gave it to one of my friends. I was like, here, have it. I don't want it.
I still have.
He was like, okay.
I still have a code for the season pass for Shadow of War if anybody's interested in the comments. Because Eli never freaking raffled it off when I gave it to him.
Eli's like, must be shit.
My gold edition literally came with 2 codes in it. I'm like,
why 2?
I guess they mispackaged it. I'm
like, they didn't
He had
care
the
anyway.
extra
So
code for.
yeah,
What
I'm
it is, he robbed the game from a special code place and got the additional code for free.
I opened the damn game up in the car. I'm like, because I was literally scanning the codes for the DLC because they had the QR on them. I'm like, well, while I'm booting up my Xbox because I literally just moved it into my room. So I'm just like, I'm letting everything boot up because I have 2 of the giant brick fucking external hard drives on it. So it takes like 5 minutes to register everything that's on it. So I'm like, while that's booting up, I can just, have it downloading the DLC in the background. I'm like, there's 2 season passes in here.
He's like, there's 2 of them in it. Speaking of like promo codes and stuff, have you ever like encountered the Pokemon ones they have at like GameStop? Like,
Yeah.
do you know how much of a pain in the ass that is? Like, oh, I could get out of my house, get one single goddamn promo code for like a shiny Pokemon, because usually they do it over the internet. Like, you go to your Pokemon game and then you just set up the network and you get it right there.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's those rare occasions where whenever a new Pokemon movie comes out, oh, go to the theater to get this code. Oh, go to GameStop to get there. And there'll be like, sometimes there'll be a line of people and sometimes there'll be no one there. So it's like,
I literally just call the manager at my GameStop because I'm good friends with her. I'm like, hey, can you scratch one of those codes off and just text it to me?
Be like, saves me time.
I mean, at this point, I spend enough money at GameStop and at Disc Traders. I'm good friends with pretty much everybody in my home store, essentially.
Yeah.
And
plus
I'm like,
you with those Funko Pops. So, yeah.
oh, you're here for another
shit,
Funko
yes.
run? Oh,
Yeah.
great. Here's literally all of the new releases. That'll be $200. Swipes card.
$200, you mean a life savings?
Wow.
Nah, that's just a week's paycheck.
David collects Funko Pops while I collect like Generation 1 Transformers from like the 80s. So.
Like,
I guess I just collect whiskey and beer, but yeah,
I
it doesn't
mean-
last that long.
Anything that's alcohol you like, Noble.
yeah, literally. I mean, that's the one thing he and I
Don't
agree
tell
on.
anyone.
But I mean, the other titles we have listed here, we have like a misspelled. I'm assuming it's French. Lego DC Villains title. We have Borderlands 3 that has been teased for a while now. They showed off some test footage at a conference not that long ago. We knew that Beyond
I
Good
feel
and
like
Evil
Borderlands
2.
has been beaten into the ground at this point.
Not really.
You don't think so?
No. I mean, the pre-sequel kind of hurt the franchise.
Yeah.
Because it was glitchy at launch, but I mean, a lot of 2K's games and a lot of games in general are glitchy at launch. So
well, it was 2K Australia, wasn't it?
I believe it was one of the offshoots that had that one.
Actually, the
Because I think everybody had an
themselves,
Australian accent for it or something.
They were pretty surprised. They were pretty surprised no one was hyping Borderlands 3. They made a post about that. They're like, "Why is no one hyping Borderlands 3?" Blah blah blah.
Oh.
This was after the fact that they spoiled it, so it's not like they just came out of nowhere and said, "Oh, we're having Borderlands 3. No one's talking about it."
Wait, Borderlands 3, you said? Also, hi.
Hello, Etribic. We're literally live right now, so...
I figured as much. I wanted to ask beforehand.
Hey, Noble, remember that text you just sent me? I guess it didn't work.
Noted.
Whoops.
Yeah, right now you should technically be forced on push to talk, but it did not carry over. But yeah, right now we were discussing like the rumored game list that was on the Walmart leak. So
Yeah, there was a lot of them.
what really intrigues me here is the fact that they continue to actually beat into the ground the yearly releases to the actual asinine levels that we see today. When, for like the sports games in particular at this point, it would be so much more cost effective for developers to just push a fucking roster update.
Yeah. So there's some games that do roster updates, like I believe NBA Live 18 Live, I believe. They do roster updates, but the 2K versions they really don't.
And it's really mostly it's always been the 2K titles that fail to realize how much cheaper that would be, because even especially with the WWE franchise, for example, since they've inherited the franchise from what was THQ's embers, and now that THQ's rising from the ashes, I'm hoping to fuck the THQ actually picks the license back up, because then they will pretty much own all of their original IPs again. And let's face it, the THQ titles for the wrestling franchise were a lot more superior. Because with 2K you have the clunky ass mechanics, and THQ they actually, had an actual grapple system. They had the actual, rope mechanics that worked, and you weren't potentially diving off into the fucking crowd. Especially in like Hell in a Cell matches, because Red and I literally captured like an hour's worth of glitches when he was here. When his fucking car battery decided to die, we captured like an hour's worth of glitches from the THQ. I actually want to put that in like a fails compilation.
Fails.
But like,
What you don't know is they were stress testing the game and trying to break it.
well, I mean, it doesn't take much to break a 2K sports game. It really doesn't. But with that in particular, like with the NXT roster, especially with like call-ups during the Superstar Shake-Up and all that shit, you could actually, instead of, here's a DLC, no, here's a fucking roster update. We're not.
I mean, it's true.
We're not charging you another $14 to download 5 people. We're charging you nothing.
Here, 5 people for $15 instead of our lazy asses making a goddamn roster update.
Because especially like half of what was in 2K17s, or 2K18s, I think we're at 2K19 here. Like 2K17 had 3 that were called up that were already in the fucking game, And 2K
DLC character, all I can think of is fucking like Doink the Clown or something.
They've done it. They've actually done it. Like
I mean,
they
I
had
haven't paid attention to WWE games.
like they
but-
had Ruby Riot and a couple other female wrestlers actually get called up, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll charge you for this shit." I'm like, "Fuck you." So at this point, we're like, we could just literally like, okay, see, they have NXT. No, now they have Raw, or they have SmackDown on their fucking name. That's all they fucking changed. It was the most bullshit thing, and EA could do the same for like Madden, and if like a roster, updates itself, or if if somebody gets traded, they can like, oh, now they're on this team, and that player that they traded for them's on this team.
Mm-hmm. It's actually ironic because EA is less popular when it comes to sports games than 2K. The thing is, on the sports side of EA, they're a little bit better, but they don't have like a popular fan base behind them when it comes to their sports games. On the other side, the reason why people play like 2K18 NBA is because it's just more popular, and there's like per se like lots more customization like in the shoes and stuff. That was a big gimmick for 2K18 sports. For the NBA titles was you could customize shoes. It was actually really cool.
That's a unique mechanic, I'll give them.
And they actually had a leveling system, which was actually really weird. But also the EA version, the NBA Live 18, they had the same thing, but they didn't have like customizations in depth like 2K. Yeah.
See, I'm not, and pretty much any viewer can tell I'm not as much into sports games.
I mean, neither am I, but I just like I do study their sports games a little bit, like because I like sports, but I don't really care for their games as much. But sometimes I'll get into that mode where I want to play a sports games, and the one game I did pick up was the NBA Live 18, and it's really a good game. So yeah.
Yeah. See, my perspective at this point is like, if you played one Madden, you've played them all.
Yeah.
If you play one, NBA game, you pretty much played them all. I mean, NBA Live's a little bit different mechanically than because
Oh yeah.
being an EA Access member, I can actually touch.
A lot of games? I mean, honestly, could you say the same about a lot of games? I mean, not just NBA, but Madden, or even
Fighter
you could even
games?
stretch it out to say Assassin's Creed, things like that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Even,
Yeah.
I'd even go as far as to say, Call of Duty. They're all
Yeah.
pretty much the same game.
Exactly, and that's something I actually intend to touch on here in a second, Noble.
This game's the same. These games are all the same.
Yeah, I mean, and you could even say for genres in particular, like every platformer is pretty much the same mechanically. But what really annoys me the most about the sports franchises is they not only have capitalized on a yearly release, but they've also now at this point have really capitalized on games as a service, especially with like the Madden Ultimate Team, the FIFA Ultimate Team, the V creds for the various 2K sports games.
Yeah.
And this was something that when I was co-hosting with Social Gamer Pad, is they were actually talking about this because a lot of the NBA games, they actually, like your franchise can't really move past a lot of, the obstacles that you encounter in the franchise mode without, utilizing the V credit bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, you either had to grind an insane amount of hours on various activities or whatever they were talking about, and you actually had to either do that or pay out with pocket. And
the thing about those V credits in general, when it comes to sports games, why they have them, it makes sense, but it's also stupid because they could also just make this free. A lot of people play online of these sports games, and you have to build up your roster. In order to do that, you need to get like certain crates and open them up to get this really good player. So that's why they have those V credits in there, because like, hey, you want to get LeBron James, you're gonna have to get him through a loot crate.
Right, and see, that's something you talk about in this week's gaming news, is like the loot crates being, in jeopardy, essentially.
Yeah, Belgium really put a strike on it. They're banning it. So, like, if there's any games that have loot boxes in Belgium, they're arresting those people like jail time, which is actually pretty funny because I don't see them arresting like, developers of like Overwatch and stuff.
Exactly. I mean, it's not a law that they can actually enforce at this point. Because a lot of those, companies are not even hosted in fucking Belgium. I don't think any of those that actually utilize loot crates have a studio in Belgium, to be honest.
But what's ironic is that the only thing that they found, the only company they found that wasn't doing like a bad thing was EA on Battlefront 2 because they took the microtransactions out.
But
That's weird.
they kind of added them back at this point because they're making cosmetics.
Of course they're adding them back. It's EA. They want your money.
I mean,
We're sorry. Slap on the wrist.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping up. Don't catch you slipping up.
like,
Go watch me tripping up.
but I mean, at this point, Belgium has gone so goddamn insane with their policy there that they think they can arrest developers that are, not even hosted in their country. It would be one thing if, the developers were hosted there. I can see them being able to enforce it.
10 to 15 years in prison.
Yeah, good fucking luck.
Imagine that.
Wow,
Like, developers of
Justin in
Overwatch-
prison for 10 to 15 years for developing a game that included loot boxes. That would be
No,
really
no,
odd
no,
and impossible.
No, the headline would read, JD Punk arrested for manipulating the Steam market with skins.
Would they really phrase it like that, though?
I mean,
No,
I've
it would be
sold
more along the
skins
lines of
over
being
$100. on
Exactly.
Steam, so.
Like, I could see that one being a headline over there, but not developing a game.
I mean, you can make a lot of money with skins. You just got to be really lucky on RNG, I guess. from
Exactly.
opening loot
And you're
crates.
insanely fucking lucky with the RNG.
Yeah.
But what...
Like, every day I get something that's worth over, like, $5 to $20. So,
The one that really draws me in here, and this is quite interesting because the last I was under the impression of from Ubisoft in particular was they weren't going to release a yearly Assassin's Creed anymore. Because
they weren't?
they were not going to do that because they were focusing on games as a service.
Okay.
And that was actually a major, press release that they actually were talking about, and they were talking to Polygon about that as well. So what really drew me in is the fact that we see here, in the bottom left, Assassin's Creed. So what I'm actually thinking this might be is a remaster of Assassin's Creed 1. That's what a lot of the AC community's actually been theorizing as well, because we saw them, discussing the whole fact that they're not going to do a yearly release because they want to actually test the waters with Assassin's Creed in that market, because they don't know if they can actually treat it the same as like their Rainbow Sixes or their Far Cries.
So what do you think?
Dude,
they're doing with the
please.
Assassin's Creed?
It's not going to be a remaster of Assassin's Creed. They're just going to reboot the whole franchise with just Assassin's Creed again.
Assassin's Creed Online.
No,
That's what I was thinking, honestly, Noble.
like,
Yeah, Noble's got something there.
Create your own character.
Because they could
Murder
they
anyone.
could milk that. They could milk that all day.
Exactly.
Just like ESO does.
It would be Watch Dogs all over.
I mean, they pretty much, have the assets to utilize a MMO at this point. Because they can utilize like the skins from the multiplayer versions, and a lot of players actually miss the multiplayer. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too surprised if they do like a. Please, if
Assassin's Creed Online. Get in your
if they
with
do
your
this,
own costume.
if they do this, just ship me off, throw me in a fucking Viking moat and just burn my ashes.
Yeah, give me some weapon skins, baby.
But Assassin's Creed Battle Royale.
No, go burn
You can make
on your boat.
blade purple.
Like,
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that most massively online anythings have already been played out at this point, so it's not as marketable. And I think people are starting to grimly realize that with MMORPGs. Which is why nobody who isn't already established, like Guild Wars 2, or someone else isn't trying to compete with World of Warcraft anymore.
It's a thing. WoW stomps everybody down because nope, you can't come into our market.
Like
It's every day, bro, with Blizzard games in general.
yeah, and that's the sad part of it. Like even ESO, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of ESO, and I have my reasons for not being a huge fan of it. But
I'm pretty sure everybody's reasons are almost the same.
Not
it sucks. Done.
It's not that it sucks. They have a great premise there. They have a great story there.
I still play it.
They have a great story. They have a great premise. But what they don't have,
they screwed it up by bringing a class system back, but then trying to make it like an MMO where you have talents and abilities like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This unit has no intimacy with the Elder Scrolls franchise and would have been deterred from Elder Scrolls Online after seeing Skyrim be run to the ground.
I mean, you're not wrong there.
There's Skyrim.
I mean, next we'll see Skyrim on the TI-83 calculator at this point. But
coming soon to next-gen consoles, Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, remastered.
Put a gun in my mouth and pull the trigger.
Now it meant chocolate chip.
Like, I'm so fucking sick of Skyrim at this point. It's not even funny.
It's because people love it so much. They're like, "Oh my god, Skyrim!"
I don't even know if people love it. I don't even know if people love it so much anymore. I think it's just, hey, this is probably the best single-player Elder Scrolls that's out at the moment. Until we, beat Bethesda down and get our demands for Elder Scrolls 6, which may or may not ever come out.
While you hear in the distance, we want a remaster of Morrowind.
They can go die in a hole.
Either, to be honest.
I mean, they technically do have Morrowind for ESO, but it's...
Well, not entirely the same.
They did also didn't they also recently re-release Morrowind, or weren't they planning on re-releasing it?
It's backwards compatible. The minute it became available, I re-downloaded it. It looks like dog shit.
Oh yeah, it's Morrowind.
Like, I fucking love Morrowind. I do. And when they announced ESO, had Morrowind in it, I'm like, oh my god, take my money. But
when my friend saw the commercials for Morrowind and ESO, he was so pumped up because he loves Morrowind too, but he thought it was a re-release of Elder Scrolls 3.
Exactly.
Well, this is in a different timeline. This is before Skyrim.
This is still second era.
This is
in ESO.
It's like second era and bridging on really, really close to the third era at this point.
It's back in the Stone Ages, guys.
Yeah, so it was
the story for ESO is supposed to end right at the beginning of the third era, where Talos essentially undergoes his apotheosis into godhood after uniting all of Tamriel together.
Exactly, and once that happens is when you enter into the main line of the fucking Elder Scrolls franchise, which is why I'm not as pissed that they made an MMO, because at this point it's literally before the entire canonical timeline, even though they consider it canon.
It takes place in the very middle of the canonical timeline, because Arena and Daggerfall were both in, I think, first and second era.
Yeah, it's this middle bullshit, essentially.
It's between Daggerfall and Morrowind is where it's supposed to sit.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's got this muddled area in canon because it's self-retconning shit as well.
It's like you're trying to have, a noble, but you also want a red.
Exactly. You get a lot of the dry humor, and then you get a little bit of the witty bullshit.
It's like trying to use.
It's the pre-sequel.
Exactly.
It's like trying to use Justin to replace Red.
Wait, how does that work?
Well,
that it works like ESO does.
It works because Red's at work currently, and Justin was able to fill in.
And I'm filling in the literal last minute because I happened to get off work early.
Exactly. So
Noble's here too.
And Noble's here. I think he's also working with his child at the moment. But
multitasking.
I am here and I am eating tacos.
yeah, but
Dude, where are my tacos?
You must come for tacos.
How far even are you guys? Have you guys invented warp rooms yet?
Wait,
that'd
what?
be nice. Noble, how far is that project going?
What project am I working on?
Warp rooms to warp us free tacos.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that one. About that. Apparently, now this is just apparently. If you warp
Dude.
something across 3 dimensions, it turns purple. So I
What?
don't think you guys want purple tacos.
Does it still taste like a taco?
What 3 dimensions? How do you?
This is
Dude,
a little.
There are
Dude,
12
don't-
different dimensions.
Don't try to believe, just accept it.
Literally,
I mean,
this
I'm
is.
begrudgingly accepting it for the same reasons as other things I've had to begrudgingly accept in previous podcasts.
But
So
you know
We
what?
have a continuity. This is the thing.
Like this
Uh.
is a noble humor. I've gotten used to it, even though I don't agree with it.
Just because you ask doesn't mean you get to know.
And what?
fair.
There's also a couple other titles here that was revealed. We have this Insurgents Sandstorm, which I don't know what the fuck that is, so I'm hoping that's teased.
I believe I've heard of Insurgents. It's actually on the PC. It's on Steam. It's like a multiplayer co-op game. It's
That could be
kinda-
neat.
It's kind of like if you took. I don't know if you played this, David. I talk about it sometimes. Black Squad. It's kind of like that,
Okay.
and like kind of Call of Duty-ish.
Okay. I mean,
And
So-
my disinterest is rising.
I'm all for a new shooter because shooters are like my bread and butter alongside action adventures and RPGs. So I'm intrigued, but I also don't want another generic shooter at the same time. I want
I
to.
mean,
Did you see the shooter that's going to be the most epic shooter if it is true from that post?
What would that be?
Splinter Cell.
At this point,
I'm so beyond excited if that does happen.
At this point, I don't even consider Splinter Cell a shooter. I consider it more along the lines of the stealth action.
Well,
you're-
like if there's a new one and Noble's
If that's
excited
what
about
you're
it with
gonna
the idea
say.
of it being a shooter, then maybe they're kind of sort of trying to change up their genres.
Any news on,
It's essentially a Metal Gear.
yeah,
Come down to it.
So, any news on Medieval Remastered, Shadow the Hedgehog 2, or
we don't.
Legend of Legaia Remastered?
I wouldn't be
Anyone?
surprised if Legend
I've
of
not seen
Legaia.
it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Legend of Legaia gets remastered. I'd sooner believe that gets remastered than what I want to get remastered at this point is Legend of Dragoon. And thank you, Noble.
Wait,
by the way.
people like Shadow the Hedgehog enough to warrant a possibility of a second one?
For fuck's sake, they made Sonic Mania a fan project more successful than Sonic Forces. So at this point,
You mean for fuck's sake, they made Sonic 2000, what was it, 2006?
we do not discuss that game on this channel. That is in the shadow realm.
Basically, because
You know
we
what?
don't.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and.
I take full responsibility for pushing everyone's buttons. There's a reason I'm exiled from the Sonic fandom and stay exiled. So.
Noble was saying something.
Yeah, Noble?
Yes, Sanic is now going to become purple when I teleport him. I just felt like you guys needed
Do
to know
it.
that. I felt it was
Do
important
it.
that needed to be shared.
I wouldn't be.
Wait,
His name
there
will be
already
Sanic.
is one.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get
Purple?
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Isn't there already a
Favorite
purple Sonic?
OC.
Big the
Is
cat.
Sanic purple?
Probably in Forces, yes.
No.
I mean,
Basically, if you played the Sonic Rush games, Blaze the Cat is basically Sonic but with fire
yeah.
instead of wind as a prime element.
You name a Sonic character and it probably exists, especially in that fandom.
Oh no, I'm thinking of a completely different game series, but it includes a purple person who's supposed to be like really fast and is also kind of like it's pretty much a Sonic game.
Are we thinking of Spyro the Dragon by any chance?
No.
'Cause that's the only one that comes immediately to mind.
No, we're not thinking Spyro the Dragon. It's not
Nice.
going to be Spyro Sheesh.
Speaking of Spyro, what do you guys feel about the announcement for Spyro?
The remaster.
Oh yeah, I think
I-
I hope for its success because
Damn it, David! You need to get me a PS4.
Fuck right off.
It's also coming on Xbox too.
Fuck you, David. I'm getting it on Xbox.
Like, okay, well,
So-
I mean, one second. One second. Justin just sent me something that needs to be live edited up.
Wait, what?
Is it a picture of? Is it that one picture of like where I'm standing behind you, just like
No,
waiting?
no.
Is it Purple Sonic?
Yeah, this is Purple
Is
Sonic.
Purple Sonic?
Oh my god. Okay,
Dude, that's
I still
awesome.
think-
Okay, Justin.
I love
Purple
you.
Sonic.
So, Azazel, do you have the recording of me introing myself, or can I just abridge it at this point?
That will be literally stitched in to either this or in Azazel's Den.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess maybe make it in Azazel's Den then, and I'll probably shrug.
We might need it for this.
Right
Well,
now,
I mean, he could if he wants
don't
to. If he wants to play pretend Rooster Teeth, he could make it one of those Ruby exposition episode type deals.
but anyway,
What do you mean play pretend Rooster Teeth? Isn't that what we've been doing?
That's what you guys have been doing.
I
I
mean,
think. I
Oh,
mean,
I
that's
thought
what
it was
Red
awesome,
and.
but okay.
We draw so many parallels between us and Rooster Teeth anyway. Might as well go the full thing. Yes, we pretend to be Rooster Teeth.
oof.
Gentlemen,
I'm Jeff.
it's
I'm
come to
Jeff.
this. How do we destroy Superman? Wait.
It's
Oh,
easy. We
wait.
kill the Batman.
Anyway, there is Purple Sonic on the live edit.
Isn't that just Thanos?
Pretty
That's
much.
Purple Sonic.
It's Purple Sonic.
Thanos! I get it now.
The
But
fuck?
it isn't usually what I think of when I think of people
got no
making Marvel
eyes.
references, but this one puts a smile on my face.
Anyway,
There's actually a
also,
couple of them, so,
don't buy any Marvel figurines this year.
Why?
I mean, they might all just be dust.
Oh.
There should be a line.
I totally got missed on that one. I didn't see that one coming. Yeah, I see.
Dead man walking.
Anyway.
Oh, they gave me Spider-Man. He turned into dust.
Also, we had a little bit of news happen while I was starting the live edit, so I'm just going to break this down. Break this down here. Minecraft Bedrock Edition hits the Nintendo Switch on June 21st, available both digitally and physically at retail. It includes the Mario Mashup Pack and the Better Together update. So, this...
And comes free with mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Brought to you by Nintendo.
Anyway,
It was a
hashtag not
cardboard
spawn.
box.
But what really caught my attention originally was the fact that Larry Herb, aka Major Nelson, retweeted this. So that was what was like, oh, cool. Because I don't follow Minecraft Twitter because I'm not a huge Minecraft fan. But what we originally intended to do before we moved all the gaming footage and stuff like that, aside from like the highlight reels and the kill compilations, stuff like that, to the Twitch end of things, we were, working around in this, like a original Achieve Land kind of shit, or Achievement City kind of thing, where...
Dude, you're really sinking in the whole we're pretending to be Rooster Teeth thing.
Right. Well, I'm jokingly meaning that, but at the same time, it was...
But hey, they didn't do it across multiple platforms and across multiple states.
Exactly. But the whole thing was, Chris had been like, yeah, well, what we can do to all, have like this little cross let's play was we could all hop in Minecraft and fuck around in that while
Drunk Minecraft.
Crossplay.
So what we were intending
Not
to
the
do...
same thing.
What is this? Minecraft? Wait,
Well-
no. My reference frame is only plays.
What we
Never
were
mind.
what we were originally, intending to do with this was use it for like update videos and stuff like that at the same time. So we were, like, oh well, we can talk about this project that we're working on while we're fucking around in Minecraft and use it for backdrop, because what I had noticed through all the shit that I had edited personally, because I usually worked on the gaming end of things, was My Azazel's Den videos that are just raw static footage of me, talking into a webcam like I am in the corner up there, with no other backdrop of any kind, exports a hell of a lot slower than fucking gameplay footage for some reason.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Have you tried using Handbrake?
Yeah, that's even...
It's because it has to account for his...
I think it also has to account for, like, my ego
I killed the chat.
It also has to account for my ego and my drunkenness.
That makes more sense.
But what?
Wait, hang on. I was gonna think of a witty retort that makes you sound less egotistical, and I'm going, wait, he still vapes. He coughed right now.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure he does. He has grapes and vapes.
But I think what it is the fact that my webcam that I currently use doesn't self-encode. So it's literally running through the Adobe encoder to, reparse footage and all that shit. So I intend to upgrade my webcam. But any raw footage that comes from that and goes into Adobe takes a hell of a lot longer than anything from the Elgato because it self-encodes through that.
Or we just all play Minecraft and you get like Noble, Jessa, Chris V, Chris S, and Red, and David on Switch, Justin on whatever.
I
got a Switch.
I have Xbox on, or I have Minecraft on Xbox. Jesus Christ, I'm not even halfway through this.
Yeah, but Red can get it on Switch then, and we can all play together.
See, he had already bought it on Switch.
See?
So that was one of the ideas that we had originally when we first, started like the Azazel's Den updates and all that shit. Is we had that, Minecraft as a backdrop because that way we could all weigh in on like update videos and stuff like that. And then he couldn't connect to our realm, mine and Chris's realm, because Chris had started a realm for Planet Unity back when we were still going to keep the channel called Planet Unity. So he had started that realm, and
dun.
he had started that. He had done all this wonderful shit and started building everything in creative mode. And I had never played Minecraft, but like once. I had never played it before except for like once in high school.
Oh! I gotta tell you a real quick story about Minecraft. Do you know the ship in Mass Effect 2?
The Normandy?
Yes. I recreated the interior of that in Minecraft, and it took me about like a week. It was the most beautiful thing I did. I actually have it still on my 360 somewheres. I'd have to dig through it to show you guys. So I might show you, guys that just for like a reference.
Say, Brett and I took like about a week to make our own little village, complete with like multi hundreds of villagers and golems.
See, I never really dove into Minecraft because I'd used it in high school. I used it in high school, to fuck around, so I'd have something to do. But I never really dove into it, creatively or anything like that. So I'm just building random shit here while I'm sitting in study hall.
Yeah, Minecraft is one of those games. It's a lot more fun and experience with people, with your friends.
Exactly. So I was literally just sitting there.
Am I the only one that played Counter-Strike back in high school?
I
feel like I am.
My original...
What is this Counter-Strike?
So, Noble, you want to know what I played in my final year of high school? And I'm saying this because I was literally like a super senior. Because I took a year off because I had a mental breakdown. So I came back.
I hear scritching. I think Noble's going to try to turn me to purple.
Don't port the Swanee. Don't warp him over to Vegas. We need him here.
He's going to port me over to Vegas and beat up purple Swanee.
But you know what? If we have a purple Swanee, at least he'll have non-purple tacos.
Port me.
Oh my god.
So
my love for tacos overcomes my fear of being purple.
So what I had actually played in my final year of like getting my last few credits is I played Unreal Tournament.
He says final year. He means his other final year.
Oh, okay. Let's not delve too deep into that.
Unreal Tournament was really fun because it was one of those games that I could actually, because they had our network so locked down, So what one student did is he brought in like a USB with the fucking torrented ISO and put that thing on our fucking network. So we had like fucking Unreal Tournament LAN parties inside the classroom during our study hall.
Hey, before I had to repeat half here.
Halo on there. Halo and Counter Strike. That's what we played in my high school.
We had Halo 1 on the PC as well, but it didn't work as well. We also had Medal of Honor. I had that,
and it worked really well.
We had Medal of Honor, I think, Finest Hour or some shit like that. It was like the third Medal of Honor game.
We had Call of Duty too.
Medal of Honor World War probably would be the one I'm thinking. Yeah, I think that was out right around the time I was in high school.
It was like the third one. It was what we could get on a torrent site and download on the network.
Oh, I was the asshole that installed it in the ghost format. So anytime a computer got ghosted, it automatically installed it.
See, they had administratively locked down the ability to do that at my high school.
The joys of being the administrator assistant.
Yeah, I was, and I was the most hated motherfucker in my high school. They despised me because I was always late because I didn't give a shit. And
you still don't give a shit.
I really don't. But my class time was like from noon to 3 because I just tested out of pretty much everything. So I'm just like, I'm here for 2 more hours. Fuck this.
See, for me, I had basically I had administrative assistant for 2 periods. So I literally for like 3 hours got to kick back and do nothing. Occasionally I work on a computer and I had free roam of the building, like the entire school. No one cared. If I showed up to do something, no one would question it. It was epic.
Oh, wrong image. Wrong image. Oh, that's Sonic. Okay.
Yay.
So
moving on to times when Noble wasn't in high school, so 12 years later.
So, Noble, you're a big Marvel buff. So, what do you think about Marvel rebooting Deadpool by erasing his past via self-retcon?
Meh.
Like, I can't think of a more...
How many times has that happened in the comics? Like 5, 6 times now?
I mean, he's, survived the meteor, came back to life, essentially, bullshit like that. But the Gary Dugan run has really been one of those interesting, timelines of Deadpool that actually, stayed somewhat true to his character's nature. And I can't think of a more...
Here's the thing. They've retconned him so many times utilizing Cable, it doesn't matter at this point.
I mean, but is
Deadpool
there
probably wanted it this way anyway.
Well, see, the whole reason he's retconning his past is because he's coming to terms with, the fact that he killed Captain America for Agent Coulson, and now he can't live with the guilt of killing America's hero, essentially. So he's, having a PTSD memory, psychosis moment.
As if he hasn't done that before.
Exactly. I mean, he's killed the entire fucking Marvel universe before.
If anything, Deadpool's retconning himself because he wants his movie series to be in the MCU.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is
because he wants to bring Fox to Disney.
From the studio that killed Wolverine. That's exact words. I don't think Deadpool cares.
Exactly.
Of course not.
I mean, Deadpool's the king of not giving fucks, just like Thanos. But I mean, at this point,
Deadpool is David's idol.
I mean,
it's what David wants to be when he grows up.
So, Thanos gave a lot of fucks, just to only about half the universe.
So right here is, and I'll actually link this article. Here's the spoilers ahead for Despicable Deadpool. So spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Leave the video if you actually care. I'll drop... Wait, I should still have the, 1 second. I'll actually raise an image. 1 second here. YouTube channel stuff. Important. Live edits. Spoiler alert! I'll drop...
So wait, you mean after the Infinity War thing, people care about spoilers with us anymore?
Yeah, we to clarify what Spawn's referring to, somebody left the Facebook group after I had I had just got out of Facebook jail for something somebody posted during my fucking birthday. So somebody dropped a GIF on my timeline that was lewd. Facebook deemed me responsible for my own Facebook timeline, what people other than myself were posting, and decided to ban me for 3 days. So the 3 days actually coincided with the removal of the spoiler ban, which is always in Planet Unity's Facebook group been 2 weeks. Since when I became an admin, had no rule to my knowledge of spoilers literally in the rules section of the Facebook group. So Thurman, myself, and a bunch of the other OG admins decided on 2 weeks. So me coming back to there was like, oh, it's been 2 weeks since, Infinity War came out. Fuck this. I'm just going to announce I'm back, to be an admin with a spoiler gif. So it was a Mr. Stark, I don't want to go gif. And somebody got butthurt and left the page. Or the group, so,
That's what I'm referring to?
I'm assuming.
I was referring to our last podcast.
Oh, well, I mean, I did have the spoiler alert thing up the entire time we were talking about spoilers.
Oh, I know, but I mean, you really think people on here are going to care that, oh, hey, they're spoiling things that they did last week or, last time?
Well, this has nothing to really do with Infinity War. But this is the description here. Over the course of Dugan's 7-year Deadpool run, Wade did more than a few things that he came to regret, chief among them killing Phil Coulson while trying to follow Captain America's orders. Since then, Wade has had a hard time living with himself, which led to the events of this final supersized issue. He's being chased by Cap and Agent Preston, so, I mean, I had, confused timelines at this point because Deadpool goes everywhere. But literally, this... once Deadpool wakes up from the he wakes up in a hall of his own memories after he's being put into this IV of drugs, and since he can't live with his memories anymore, he decides to wipe them from existence, retconning everything that's happened over the past 7 years. What follows is a montage of the biggest moments from Dugan's Deadpool run. President Deadpool walks into the scenes and tears them to shreds, literally self-retconning at this point. And once he wakes up, he journeys to both heaven and hell. He's put on trial for Coulson's murder due to the effects of the drugs. Deadpool's in a state of comatose, and then a judge rules that he's unfit to stand trial. Series ends with him in a mental institution, waking up with no memory of anything that's happened to him. He puts his suit back on, runs out the front door, and believes he has a love for Mexican cuisine. Final transition of the issue reads Another Beginning, teasing the upcoming start of Scotty Young's new series, which comes out on June 6th. So at this point...
Who wins, Thanos or Deadpool?
I mean, at this point, I guess Deadpool wins because he retconned his own existence.
I think the short answer is that Deadpool will probably always win because Thanos originally started as not a well-written character in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, it's become this running gag that at the end of every Deadpool series, he breaks the fourth wall. Like when they originally ended the Dugan run with the Comet, it was teased that, he was content with the way his story ended. And then it comes back with Dugan's, retconning that. Like, yeah, just kidding, I'm back. And then now we have this. So it's this whole thing with Marvel at this point, really, where they have become such shit at keeping continuity in comics that they can't even comprehend that readers are so sick of, a constant reboot, that they're starting to search their entertainment in the comic industry elsewhere. I mean, I fucking love Deadpool. I'm not going to stop reading Deadpool, but at the same time, I'm so sick of Marvel retconning every single... Like, my biggest gripe with them has been X-Men, where it seems like every 6 months we have a new X-Men title. Because the last one has
I wonder if you could really count any retcon of Deadpool as an actual retcon, though, seeing as how he normally acts anyway.
I mean, I guess...
Or at least what he's become known to act as.
I mean, I guess you really can and can't, because he's a parody character, essentially.
You could technically claim that every time he retcons, he's like, yeah, no, I actually just have more things. I just want to come back out of retirement.
I mean, it's like if fucking Saitama did the same thing, at this point.
I mean, at the end of the gag character, his canon is not really canon per se.
Exactly.
It's like the Pokemon anime.
Like, Ash is perpetually 10 and, you know, constantly...
Where Ash is always 10 and Pikachu's level resets.
His level resets and he's went from fat to skinny to fat again.
They should really just let Ash grow
I
up.
go to fat to skinny to fat again. What are you trying to say?
Fat Pikachu.
Have you ever seen the
People
OG
like Fat
Pikachu? Have you ever seen the OG Pikachu, Noble? He's fucking adorable.
Dude, Noble's lived through OG Pikachu.
He's round like me.
We've all lived through OG Pikachu. Maybe.
Even in the cards, Lieutenant Surge had the fat Pikachu.
Exactly.
Yes.
Noble, I'm not live editing that up if you're asking me to. I refuse.
Alright, I'm going to keep it level, or I'm going to keep it real with you, Chief. I'm going to mosey. But it was nice being here for a small cameo.
Alrighty. Talk to you later.
Later.
See you later.
Okay. But yeah, we also...
Yeah, I'm going to have to skedaddle too because my phone's dying and I'm not on anything else right now.
Alrighty.
Love you guys.
Love you.
I'm talking to the fans, not you.
Yeah. Well, I think I owed you an apology after this fucking fact that I didn't like mint chocolate chip ice cream and you threw a temper tantrum there, Swan. Anyway.
Oh, he's been gone for a while.
Yeah,
Been gone
well.
for like 10 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he'll rewatch it. He always rewatches our content.
Yeah, and he comments on it. It's like, Swan, you don't need to comment.
Exactly. Especially if you were there.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, Digimon new anime was announced here.
After,
Lame.
what was their last one? Was it Try? I think
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
the Adventure Try just wrapped up this week.
Mhm.
And then it was like a new project announced, essentially, kind of like they did with the SAO movie, where they announced season 3 there. And that's become kind of a more common thing in the more modern anime market when they have a canonical movie announcing a new project in there.
Yeah.
So there's a tweet that was embedded in this article. It's all in Japanese. I'm not even going to try to translate because Google Translate sucks. The tweeting from the official Twitter account from Digimon Adventure Tri series, the series revealed the anime of Agumon with the message the adventure evolves. Again, a new project starts. No other information has been announced at this point. But there are also pre-orders available for a wonderful life-size Agumon plush. That's 45 centimeters, about 18 inches tall.
Yeah. Agumon.
Which is about $76, and you also can... I mean, I paid more for Pokemon plushes, so I'm not going to complain.
As long as it's not body pillows, okay?
Yeah,
Thurman.
no. I will never turn into Thurman. Although I did technically order a body pillow, but it was as a gag for a gift. So what I intend to do is, if his Tinder dates don't act, is send him a fucking Asta body pillow.
I'll be like, what the hell is this? Thurman's like, oh, shit.
I'm questioning my
Problem with that is,
heterosexuality.
if you do that, I'll take Thurman down to the K-pop store and let him buy you whatever K-pop stuff he wants.
I'll just burn it live on the
K-pop
air.
body pillow.
Buys you like millions of CDs.
I'll just burn it live on
I'm
the
not
air.
kidding.
I'll turn it into content either way. It was either between, I had joked about buying him a fleshlight.
Oh.
And I thought, nah, I'm not going to be that much of an asshole. What can I be even more of an asshole about? Asta. Okay, cool. It's only $50, fuck it.
Pretty cheap.
Yeah. For a body pillow, it's pretty cheap.
Should give him a nut button in it too.
I might just put a nut button in there. For when Asta climaxes, he'll always scream. And then they also have an actual, like, Digivice replica. That's $64.
That's almost the same price as the fucking Agumon.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess it just plays like a sampling from the Try soundtrack of, like, Butterfly and Braveheart. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. It also lights up in orange, blue, and red. Each light plays a different...
In there.
Each light up plays a different interaction between Tai and Agumon, Matt and Gabumon, and Maiko and Maikumon. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. And then we also have in a bit of odd news. And this one is one of them that I was kind of disappointed in. As somebody that's been waiting for Beyond Good and Evil 2 for a long time, and the fact that it's been revealed as a thing, I was kind of disappointed when they announced it, saying it was not, you know, following Jade's adventures, but now it's actually really confirmed because there's this article here from Engadget, and it's also on the topic list, and I'm going to drop it in the comments as well, or in the description of the video once it's archived. We have the fact that we have a character creator in the game. So, no Jade at all. Not even, you know, as of right now, confirmed as like a cameo. So, at this point, I'm questioning if this is even part of the same timeline, or if this is part of the even same universe, essentially. You know, we have, you know, some, you know, cross comparison here, like the pigs and all that shit, but are we even in the same timeline, or what is this game really in the Beyond Good and Evil universe? And at this point, what the fuck's even going on? Because if we have no Jade, you're going to, you know, exile part of your fan base, essentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's quite weird that we have this coming out ahead of E3 as well, because I was assuming we'd have more revealed for this game there, but it was, this article's all like information that came from their Twitch live stream. So combat, you'll have the bow staff, also a jetpack, which make hopping between the ship and the enemy craft pretty easy as you're playing as a pirate rather than a journalist this time. Your camera will be replaced by a spyglass, which you can also utilize to take photos and get more info.
Which that's actually kind of odd, taking photos with a spyglass, but, you know.
It's Ubisoft. At this point, I've kind of come to terms with whatever they decide to utilize.
With tripwire claymores that you go through and you don't die from, yeah.
Yeah.
You used to die from them, but now you don't.
Also, I mean, a bulletproof camera for two of the most OP operators, you know.
Did they actually implement the bulletproof cameras in yet? Because last time I checked...
They hadn't been yet. I guess they're still working on that, but...
yeah, because I didn't see them in there, but I did get an update, so...
Yeah, I got the update this morning, so... but then again, I hadn't powered up the Xbox for a while, so... But when I powered it up, that's like, yeah, you got an update. Great. That's going to sit for a while, considering I'm uploading stuff to the fucking Google Drive.
Can't wait to use Caviar with a fucking bullet cam.
In a room. It's just literally, it's going to resort in people trolling with Caviar more. It's just going to be weird.
People are going to be like sending hate crimes and hate messages over Xbox and PS4.
Yeah, it's just going to be the Cav sitting there in the corner of the room like, coming up the stairs. Pop, 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 pop.
Oh, shit.
Pop, 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 pop.
Run with her automatic shotgun. Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, just more trolling. But, I mean, at this point with Ubisoft, I mean, we pretty much confirmed a connected universe. We've confirmed, you know, this whole fan theory like Far Cry exists in the Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed, and that all coexist within each other as well. So at this point, I'm going to assume Beyond Good and Evil. Yeah, it's just coming in there too, because at this point we're hitting.
Throw it in.
We'll just throw it in there. Give the fans a little nugget of wisdom here. Yeah, we're utilizing some Assassin's Creed level tech in this game. Fuck it. Maybe a little bit of Watch Dogs in there, considering now you're taking camera photos with a fucking spyglass.
Be like, yeah, I got a spyglass. Here we go, taking pictures, which is unethical at all. But
yeah,
it's Ubisoft.
So we got that. I won't be surprised if we see a little bit more from this title at E3. And what I'd actually like to see more of is if this is before the original game, or if this is after the original game, and considering I didn't watch the live stream because I was busy editing that day. So if anybody that's watching this VOD has any more information on that, I'd love to hear it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing this game return but at the same time, I'm a little torn because I love Jade as a protagonist in this game. So give us original fans something, essentially.
Please.
Yeah, I'm begging.
David, I had a question for you but what is your what game are you most excited for when it comes to the Canadian Walmart leak thing?
When it comes to Canadian Walmart leak thing, as an Assassin's Creed fan, I'd love to know what the hell that's about. But what I'm most intrigued by is that a mistitling for the Halo game? Or are they really going to dive off of the core Halo franchise? That's what I'm confused by here at this point, because we just had a Halo Wars, but I love RTS, so I wouldn't mind diving back into the RTS element.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of weird. Like, I mean, they haven't made a Halo 6, but they did make the Halo Wars 2. So I'd only feel it natural if they decided to, like, Halo Wars, and then main title, Halo 6, then go back to a Halo Wars game.
Or one of the Assault games, or whatever else they decide to utilize in the Halo universe. I mean, Halo, at its core, is one of the most, lore-deep franchises out there currently. I mean,
they got books, kids. Books.
They got books, they got comics, they got, the TV series that Steven Spielberg's working on still, because he confirmed that he's still working on that. I'm sure the first episode will release the day he dies. It's... I never even dropped the spoiler alert. But... Oops. Got too caught up in that conversation there. But it's one of those, universes that you could literally pick a part in the timeline, almost like Star Wars, essentially. Like they did with the Rogue One. Those few days leading up to the Death Star's, plans being stolen, that entire plan being Rogue One. They could do literally the same thing with Halo, essentially, because they could pick, they've done Reach, but they could do what came after Reach. They could do the Helljumper saga, more. They could touch more on the ODST. They could touch on, Harvest, the Harvest era. They could touch on all of that in a game, essentially. And fans would eat it up. That's what's really weird, that 343's never really dove into any of those side stories. Bungie dove into fucking Reach as their swan song. This is what happened before Master Chief was a thing, although anybody that read the novel knew what the fuck was going on and knew they were going to be bawling their eyes out at the end. It was still one of the most well-received games in the Halo franchise, multiplayer-wise, and that's what I would love to see a return to form multiplayer-wise, in Halo 6, but I don't know if we'll actually get it from 343.
By the way, a lot of people still play Reach.
They really do. I can still get into a match on that. I can hardly get into a match on 5. And fucking don't even get me started on the Master Chief Collection. Trying to get in a match on that is like hell. Because I just captured footage for that shit.
The Master Chief Collection wasn't that bad. Another thing, too, is when you said they could, since the whole lore-wise, it's so gigantic, they could make a middle point anywheres in the timeline and just call it as it is. Like you said, fans would eat it up, right? Because it's so gigantic.
Exactly. Like, for example, if they adapt, one of my favorite comic lines from the original Marvel comics was the Helljumper comics. Because I love the whole, the ODST aspect of things. Because it was blurring the lines between the super soldier and the actual, I'm just a patrolman, basically. I'm literally the grunt here that's been sent to die.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's what happened in ODST.
Exactly. That was one of the most unique comic lines. They could literally dive into that lore more. And because fans really love the ODST and the firefight mode, and they've continued to, implement that in some aspect, and that's been adapted by pretty much every franchise lately.
Yeah. The only reason why I didn't like OT, it wasn't because of the actual performance, it's just the way Bungie took it. Like, they gave you a good character that you could love, the actual rookie, but they didn't mold him into what you'd think he'd be, and they didn't really mold him into, a very main character, which I honestly thought that sucked, because what they did was they just took the character and then threw him away after the game. That was it. Never heard of him ever since.
Exactly. but you still see Buck. You still see,
Yeah,
some...
that's another cool feature about Halo 5, that there is reoccurring characters, so they're aware of the lore and the foundation of the actual franchise itself.
Yeah, so 343 was, as much as they get shit on, they do care about the franchise. But at the same time, they neglect to really actually expand on the lore or implement what's left for them by Bungie, by every publisher from the books, and they're coming out with another book right around the same time as E3, because it appeared on my timeline because I had actually searched for is there any Halo 6 news, and it's like, no, but there's a fucking book here, you can add it to your Amazon cart. And I'm like, fuck, well, add to cart. It's only $22, fuck it.
I mean, from what I know currently, what they're trying to do with Halo 6 is, firstly, they want to capitalize it on the Xbox One X, because it's technically their next-gen console.
Yeah.
And the Xbox One X doesn't really have any exclusives on it so far that aren't new titles. They have, the Halo games on there, but they're not new titles.
And then they optimize
I don't think they've actually come out with any exclusives that are new.
Well, from what I understand, Crackdown 3 will be one of those that's really core to the X as well.
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves, I guess, if you really want to count.
I mean, so beyond disappointed with Sea of Thieves, it's not even funny.
Haha, it's funny. I mean, they have game was no, I lost my place. I don't know.
State of Decay 2? Was that what you were thinking of?
No, I was thinking they do support games that like for example, Monster Hunter World. I mean, it's good to have it there because technically Monster Hunter World, it's the most graphical game on the Xbox One X, and that's it currently so far, because there's not a PC release to back that up.
The Xbox One X enhanced titles that we see right now. No, you're logging me into the wrong Microsoft account.
Most of them are just going to be enhanced games that are already out.
Yeah, exactly. So they're trying to scramble to find exclusive games right now, trying to put it over to the X.
Something they can bundle together to make it seem like that much better.
Yeah.
We see A Plague Tale, which is one that's in development. We see A Way Out that's enhanced for the X. We see Areo. I'm assuming that's an indie title. Agents of Mayhem just got enhanced for it, which I would love. That's what I was hoping for from the leak, okay? That was what I was really hoping for, is a new fucking Saints Row game. I'm so sick to death of GTA 5 at this point. It's milked me to death.
GTA and Saints Row are terrible games, in my opinion.
Well, fuck you. Anthem is one that's really teased for that as well. We see Ark, that's one of them that's going to be enhanced for it.
Ark Survival?
Yeah, it's...
Oh, boy. It's like that game always gets an enhancement or something. It's
exactly.
Everywhere. I mean, it's not a bad title, not at all. It's just...
Exactly.
Where you go. It's on the PC, it's on the PS4.
It's on the Xbox One.
Xbox One X.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's getting a Linux release, because we have the fucking, Steam, capitalizing on the Linux market more now.
Yeah. Slap it on that new Atari that's supposed to be coming out, boys.
Maybe we'll get a new Sega.
Maybe.
I mean, there's rumors of that. The original Assassin's Creed, for fuck's sake, is enhanced for the Xbox One X.
Oh, boy.
I can only imagine how atrocious that looks. Ugh.
I don't know.
I mean, it was kind of ahead of
if
its...
it's remade, it might not.
It was kind of ahead of its time for the original, 360. It was right in that middle ground.
I felt like one of those games that was ahead of its time was Final Fantasy 11. No, Final Fantasy 12 on the PS2.
Yeah, 12 was phenomenal graphically.
I couldn't fathom it on the PS2. It just looks incredibly good for its time. It was just what?
This is on the PS2? Aren't they working on a new console? And we
So
know
it was
the
surprising. It was just like, wow. Because when I seen it, I've never seen the game during this time that graphically intense, unless it was on a 360, of course. But
exactly.
some of the 360 games weren't as graphical as the ones they were porting on to the PS2.
Exactly. I remember some of the original Xbox 360 games looking like utter trash.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was like early N64 shit to me. And the major one that was revealed to be Xbox One X last year was ACO, which even on the S in 4K looks like fucking orgasmic. So I can only imagine how it looks on the X.
Yeah.
Let me see, Attack on Titan 2 being one of them. What I'm curious about is the enhanced. We have Below from Capybara Games, which has been teased for God knows how long at this point.
Yeah.
Biomutant. Black was ported to it, an original Xbox title.
That was a good game.
It was, I wouldn't actually like, they left it really open, because I never played it on the Xbox originally. It was one of the titles I picked up for my 52 game challenge last year when it was first announced that we'd have backwards compatible Xbox titles. I'm like, well, shit, it's $3. What do I have to lose?
He's like, oh shit.
It's $3. I'm like, if it's garbage, fuck it. You know, I spent $3 on this. You know, and it was actually a really good title, and it was really open-ended for a sequel, and they never really continued that franchise. So I'd like to see that come back. Black Desert was one of them, was ported over.
Yeah, I don't really like Black Desert.
I was kind of disappointed by it. Not gonna lie.
The reason why I hate it is because the lack they put into that game. Because it just fucking pisses me off. Because like, you have like typical MMO games that have like customization, right? Like, oh, you beat a certain boss, you'll get a helmet off him. In Black Desert Online, for some reason, they do not have helmets, and it really bothers me. It could be, this is just pure opinion. Some people don't like helmets and they just, leave it off, but I like helmets. And the only way you can get a helmet is if you buy it, like through money. And I was like, you know how they have transmog sets and stuff you can buy from the store?
Yeah.
That's where you can only get it. I was like, that's a fucking disappointment.
Like, that's basic gear in any MMO is a helmet. You know, if you like it, if you don't. It's basic gear in MMO. I'm not going to deny you that one there. I don't usually use a helmet myself, but I can see where somebody would actually want a helmet. You know, because it's extra stat points for whatever, 5 into this point, 5 into that, whatever. But at the same time, I don't find them aesthetically pleasing. But I can see where somebody would want them.
Yeah. I mean, that's why they do have the options in most MMOs to just have the helmets off, but you still have them on.
Exactly. That's what I love. I'm like, oh, I still get the stat boost and I don't have to look at it. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, I rarely wear a hat outside, for fuck's sake. And the only hat I actually... And this is more of a personal reason. Is most hats actually give me a headache. So,
really?
That's why there's like... I have one particular beanie that I got from Loot Crate that I wear. And this is not a sponsor from Loot Crate. I have the Daredevil Punisher reverse beanie that they had. That doesn't affect me because it's really loose fitting. And then the Diva hat that I bought. And it's really loose fitting.
Oh, is it the bunny one?
It's the bunny one I wore.
I think
in
I'm
that
the
one
only one
podcast.
here that just wears hats at all times, pretty much. Like, I wear a hat all day long.
Yeah, the bunny one I wore in the one podcast. Yeah, I could sit through that entire podcast with that on. Normally, after like an hour, I have a fucking splitting migraine.
You know what's funny? You said that gives you a headache. Here's something weirder that gives me a headache. Purple lollipops.
Weird.
I don't know
but
what
not
it
purple
is.
tacos.
Do those even exist, Noble?
I mean, purple food coloring.
Where am I sending you one now?
I mean, it'd be no really different than green eggs and ham, it's green food coloring. But it's really weird. I would assume that would be like the dye that they use in the lollipop would be the one thing affecting you.
I think it's the actual, I wouldn't say chemicals, but just the actual taste of like a purple lollipop. I just don't like it, and it gives me like a headache, like a small headache. Any other lollipop, though, it's just fine.
And there's a very big difference, viewers, between the grape flavor and the purple flavor.
Yeah.
The grape juice is grape flavor. Perp flavor is like your grape pop, your Dimetap, your whatever the hell cough medicine that's grape flavor. That's purple.
That's purple, man.
Like, but we also have in development here like Code Vein. That's going to be one of those that's really hit with the Xbox One X. And then the big marketing point for Microsoft was Crackdown 3 was built from the ground up for the Xbox One X and cloud data and cloud computing and all that shit.
Yeah.
Which is really weird because they're fucking giving away free with Game Pass. So sign up for Xbox Game Pass right now, and this is not a sponsor.
Yeah, that is true.
Like, that's...
I know they have the Game Pass for like $1 too. That's another thing. They just like, hey, you can sign up for $1 just to have your Game Pass. I'm like,
yeah, $1
okay.
for...
They did that with Live too.
Yep.
Like 1 month for Live. Here's $1.
Yep.
Give us $1.
Give us $1. Try out our servers, and they always do that around the time that school's ready to come out. You ever notice that's always the time that kids are getting out of school that they hop on that $1. Like, we can hit the kid market.
Kid market.
Hey kid, you want some Xbox Live?
Or those cringy Xbox ads.
Remember the original Xbox Live ads? Oh,
That's
God.
what I was talking about, by the way. That's
Like-
the one I was talking about.
Oh my God.
When they had voice masking as a thing.
I have the same effect now in my headset that I'm using here. Like, I fucking mask it.
Oh, really?
Because I hate how I sound on a mic normally.
Ah.
Because,
Gotta sound deeper.
yeah, I sound either super deep or super southern. And because my inflection really comes out when I go on a mic. And then normally I just sound normal to me when I talk on the phone. And then I listen, because I have a feature on my phone that records every call, because that way I can remind myself, like, hey, I made an appointment for this time. And if I'm ever on the go, like, oh, I can go back and play the recording from the doctor so I can put it in my calendar if I'm, busy. Like, I made an appointment at this time. I sound like a goddamn hick on the phone. I hate that I don't mind Southern. I hate my own accent.
I hate it, because I'm from Michigan.
Like, but both of my parents are from West Virginia, so I inherited that, Southern drawl.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So it's just like, because I was born like shortly after they moved here, so it's like I picked that up, when I started learning to talk.
Yeah.
So like that never went away for me like it went away for them. And still to this day, like, I went down to West Virginia for vacation, and then I came back up here, and it started to fade a little bit, but it's still, you can still hear it. I was like, I hate my own accent.
Like, I mean, I've been living in Massachusetts for like the longest time, but my Massachusetts accent is pretty subtle because a good quarter of my lifetime I was in California.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that totally changed my perspective.
Yep.
So I come back to Massachusetts and they don't hear my Bostonian accent at all. They're like, "Where the hell are you from?" I'm like, "I'm still from here. I was just in California for some quite time."
Yeah, and they're like, "You're not one of us anymore."
You're not one of us. You don't like Dunkin' Donuts.
So here's what really intrigues me with the Xbox One X. And since we're talking about this, is like, if they want this to, be their, constant, console on the market, if they don't want to actually go into, Xbox 2 or whatever.
Nextbox 2.
Oh, God. I was confused as fuck when they announced the Xbox One. I'm like, but you've already had one.
No, it's a new console, I swear. It's just, we named it the Xbox One.
Like when Sony announced the little mini version of the PlayStation as the PS1.
Yeah.
Like, it was one of those I'm like, ugh, okay, it's just a reskin, but whatever. I just got a text message. I'm assuming that's Noble.
Some new blip.
Okay. So he'll be back. His kid's not acting out. So But I mean, we're going to be wrapping this up here because we've been going on for about an hour and a half.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Felt like 2 hours to me.
Yeah, 1:39:34 according to the clock. But I just want to touch on this, and I want to touch on one other topic that's really brief. We have this, market for, everlasting consoles, essentially, with the PS4 Pro, and we have if they can, make it successful on the market, and then we have this. So what my main concern is one, the fact that the Pro has been marketed as kind of a failure, and we see the Xbox One X, succeeding in that everlasting console market because it has true 4K, it's completely capable of everything, regardless of
Which is actually shocking, is because the actual price of that thing is actually pretty reasonable for 4K, by the way.
Exactly, like
no one believed it. Even the people at We Game Here, they even said, they were like, there's no way this thing's gonna be priced at $500 for all that tech.
Yeah, I mean, I could build, and then my point to them before I got banned and then added back somehow was like, I can build a comparable PC for that if it wasn't for the Bitcoin market. Because the Bitcoin market made GPUs go through the fucking roof, and they're still, slowly trickling back down, but
fucking Bitcoins.
I mean, I'm not going to deny that I capitalized on that a little bit myself.
Got vaping, Bitcoins.
I paid off a decent portion of my fucking student loans with that, though.
Really?
Yes. We're like, oh, no, I can cash that in. Cool.
I don't need to sell most of my liver now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think anybody would want my liver either. Like
vape shit in it.
I got vape shit, I got vodka, I got, all that wonderful shit in there. I mean, you don't want my liver.
Yeah.
But I was like, I could build a comparable PC for about the same price, guys. It's not that...
Yeah.
It's not that hard. And that's what I used to do for a living, is just build people PCs, and then they would pay me to assemble them.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, they do have a PC simulator game now on Steam.
Exactly. That really crushed that market for me.
I was tempted to buy that, too. I was like, this looks really cool.
I mean, there's a whole genre at this point of life sims. It started with, like, Surgeon Simulator, and then it went into... And I watch... Because a lot of what I do is modeled after, like, Achievement Hunter and Rooster Teeth in general. And they have the show Play Pals, where they play through, shitty games. And one of them was Cockroach Simulator and Human Face Simulator and Hand Simulator. I'm like, what the fuck? And they bought, like, this lifestyle simulator game that had those games bundled in it for, like, $3.
Steam for, publishing these games while they actually put them out. But yeah, a lot of those shit-posting games, they come from fucking Steam people.
Exactly. Like, Steam, I love you, but for fuck's sake, a lot of this doesn't need to exist on your marketplace.
Oh my god, some of the the games I bitch about, it's usually the anime games with the fucking anime titties in them. I'm just like, come on. $1? Of course people are gonna go for it.
Exactly, but yet, Nekopara, for example, that's one of the most infamous ones, right? Like, it has a
got Nekos in it, man.
It has a Steam version, which is, still technically NC-17. And then it has a Nekopara website version that you can implement into your Steam account. And it's full-on X-rated. And you can literally...
Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. I didn't know, it was that vulgar. I thought it was, flirty, kissy, touchy here, but I did not know it was that.
It's not a visual novel. It is a full-blown H game.
Ooh.
And there's a reason they banned it from Twitch. You can literally, and this is not bullshit, you can look up the actual scenes from it on Pornhub. I'm like...
That's pretty fucking...
It's one...
Trash.
It's annoying, really, because as funny as it is that, they snuck a lot of what's dirty past the Steam censors, they couldn't sneak it all past them.
That's what annoys you, is the fact that a lot of people can make these like sexualized games, overly sexualized games, and Steam's just like, they just nudge it off and they're like, here you go.
Yeah, I mean, they can sneak a lot of it past their marketplace, censors, but they still, at this point, are like, yeah, if you want the full version, come to our website. It's the same exact price.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, I can buy it and just, download a torrent for the fucking patch and write it into my damn, account. And it's still a legit purchase on Steam. It's not going to deny me any achievements. Fuck you. I'm not paying you $15 after I pay for it on Steam. Like, you already got my money once. Fuck off.
Fuck off, yeah.
It's really, that's the Steam, curse. Is like, you see these really, bullshit games that don't have any purpose being on any marketplace.
I just call them trash bin games. They're like for $1, sometimes up to $5.
Like, and there's
low ratings, and what I mean by low ratings, like not many people rate them. They'll still be good ratings, but not a lot of people rate them.
Yeah, and the reason behind a lot of that is either there's two of them really. Remember that developer that actually was suing reviewers that were blasting their games down?
I believe so.
It was
what game was it?
It was fuck. I actually have to pull up the article because I still have it in my bookmarks. 1 second.
All I know is Steam needs to stop doing this, because like
it was Digital Homicide. It was the company Digital Homicide. All of their games were removed from Steam because of them threatening to sue.
You can't do that. No.
People that were blasting their fucking reviews.
That's the point of a review system, people.
Exactly.
This is why. I mean, if we didn't have a review system, and we didn't if we didn't have internet technology, I guarantee you, what's that freaking game? The one that was a big failure, David, I think you pre-ordered it and put a lot of money into it. It's that space game.
No Man's Sky?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not bring that up.
So, I mean, if they didn't have no review system for that, I think No Man's Sky would have turned out a little bit better. But since they do have it, a lot of people are, putting it on notice. This game sucks. But recently I've heard No Man's Sky is doing a lot better. They
were able to implement a form of multiplayer, which I'm not entirely, hateful to the company of like, yeah, we overshot our expectations of what, a lot of this would do, having that many planets, even though a lot of them are just reskins. But
yeah.
I get that, implementing a form of multiplayer into that many planets would probably take a hell of a lot of work. And Sony, I think, was a lot to blame for a lot of the pushing up of the game. Mm-hmm. They weren't able to... I've kind of, dialed back my toxicity towards them, for lack of better terms.
I thought the game was going to be fantastic until people actually played it and gave it reviews, and I was like, oh, yeah, maybe I don't want to touch that game.
I mean, it's not a horrible game. It's not a... it's not a complete failure like Duke Nukem Forever or stuff like that. Yeah. But what they did is they overshot, the amount of complexity to having that many planets. They overshot a lot of the complexity of having that many solar systems, and actually of, this is how many worlds we want in this game. Even though most players probably won't touch even a tenth of them before they beat the main, purpose of the game. Is one of those unfortunate examples of like, if I'm paying you to publish this game for me, you're going to meet my deadline or you're going to fuck right off. And that's what I feel a lot of the issues with Destiny 2 was from Bungie's end. From Bungie's end was like Activision pushing them out the door. Like,
yep.
You said, 10-year contract, sequel now.
Hey, they got the sequel, but it wasn't what they wanted.
Exactly, and as much as I shit on Bungie, a lot of that, falls onto Activision because now they're seeing decreased sales, and now Bungie's like, yeah, we could have told you it wouldn't have, done that well because we weren't really done with what we wanted to do. Maybe if you had listened to us, we know our own game.
Yeah.
So it's that happens quite often now in this, revolving door of games that we get every year. That's why I wouldn't be too upset if, we see shorter, either shorter release schedules and then an extended, patching time, or we see this, yeah, we're going to have a new game out in like 3 years instead of 1. Especially from like the annual releases, like your Call of Duties. I know it's a different studio every year at this point, but even they suffer from
Hammer, Triarch,
even they suffer from the same, issue.
Yeah.
And you really saw it with Infinite Warfare, especially because
Infinite Warfare can go suck one because that game's pretty bad.
I mean. But it suffered from that, that revolving cycle of games, and that's what a lot of THQ games originally suffered from, is because they had to meet the deadlines for everybody else, which, unfortunately led to their original downfall, and now that they're back on the market, hopefully they can see a little more success, because as, bad as their past had been for a lot of their titles, especially, like, their last titles from, especially the Sci-Fi Studios.
When was their last title, by the way?
Their last title under the original THQ banner was, I believe, Red Faction Armageddon.
Ooh, so that was...
And then Nordic Studios bought up a lot of the IPs and then slowly built their catalog back up under the THQ Nordic banner. So as
THQ also made SpongeBob, by the way,
mm-hmm.
like the early SpongeBob games. So.
And they got the THQ Nordic actually got the licenses back. I was talking about that in a previous episode, which really saw, now they're only missing essentially the UFC license and the WWE license, and then they'll have their entire original catalog back.
Yeah, because they originally had THQ had WWE.
Yep.
They had Raw, they had SmackDown, and all those games, right?
Mm-hmm. And then when THQ closed, 2K swooped that up. EA swooped up the EA license, or EA swooped up the UFC license. South Park is the other one that they need to get back. But I really, as much as I hate to say it, I feel that South Park is a better fit for Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Because Ubisoft doesn't normally have a filter, whereas THQ, originally had, even for like the soundtrack for the wrestling games, they censored a lot of that. So, I mean, I feel like that would be one of those that was better fit for the Ubisoft area.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I mean, fucking, they spent the last, like, 5 years picking up their original IPs. And I wouldn't be surprised if Deep Silver, remerged with them, which would give them back, like, Saints Row and shit.
Yeah. So. I'd like to see another Red Faction game, honestly.
Well, they're remastering Armageddon. That was announced not that long ago. So I think that was their way of, like, testing the waters for a new title.
Yeah.
Like, they originally remastered not too long ago the original D-Blob, and then the sequel not too long after that. They're slowly bringing all of their classic titles back to the original console, either with, like, Full Spectrum Warrior, for example, was one of their original shooters that they made, and they brought that back via backwards compatibility. So, be interesting.
Yeah.
But the other topic that really, and this is one that pretty much everybody's been touching on lately, is this transcript from Sega. And this is one I was hoping that we could get Thurman in on, but he's at work. But this is what really intrigues me, is Sega CEO has been talking about, focusing on quality and the teaming up with Mario and all that. And there's 2 articles to this. There's one that was from a Nintendo website because of the Mario mention, and then there's an original CNBC article, which, is the entirety of the transcript. And this is from their Sammy Holdings meeting where they kind of, touched on all of their, previous, how they came to come back to this newer era and all this refocusing, blah, 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 that they're going over right now. And I don't call it refocusing because they haven't released a competent title that they've actually developed themselves lately. So it was this was from that article, the original one. This is the Nintendo one. They're talking about the disappointing the fans. They were talking about the Metacritic of 30 out of 100 that they got from them. From, I believe it was Sonic Forces. They got the 30 out of 100 from Metacritic, which, let's face it, it's at this point where your fans created a better game than you.
Yeah.
And that was the
Sonic Mania, for example.
Yeah, that's the main thing that's really bothered me with modern Sega, is they've lost touch with their fans to the extent of, having fans that are more confident in developing a game, because to Sega it's, and this is what Red and I equate a lot of things to, is when you value a paycheck over the passion of a project, it, is meaningless. Because you're only doing it for the money, so you shell out a soulless iteration every time. And that's what we shit on Ruby a lot of the last volume. Was it was clear that at this point, from the amount of merch, from the amount of how much they've hoarded out Ruby to the general public, that it became a paycheck over passion. Whereas under Monty's direction, it was passion over paycheck, because he took his time and there was multiple years between volumes. And a lot of that didn't really fall directly on Rooster Teeth. It fell on their overseers at Full Screen. Whereas, a lot of the issues with, Epic Rap Battles fell on, Maker Studios. And that's what happens when you kind of, dive into the whole aspect of having an entity overseeing your company. And when Sega was, essentially bought out from their bankruptcy, a lot of their focus was, now we need to make money back.
Exactly.
And that's what we saw here with the recent iterations of Sonic that are directly from
and all that stuff. So
that's what we saw from that. And what I'd like to actually see from Sega is the same thing I'd like to see from Capcom. And this is why I was hoping that Thurman would be in here, is I would like to see them actually make, contact with their fan base and see what they're actually interested in a game. And especially in the era of social media, this is a very simple thing that a lot of companies could do. Mm-hmm. Because
I think they're trying, especially with Monster Hunter World. I think they're
exactly
trying.
That was their first step in the right direction. And Capcom, as well as Konami and Sega, they have a fuck ton of dormant series that fans would love to see brought back to light. I don't think that Konami can ever redeem themselves after, Metal Gear Survive, and the fact that they actually were making people essentially pay for a save slot.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid. I mean, recently Capcom has announced Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, which I almost shit a brick. I was like, oh my god, they're actually going to release it, because originally it was only for Japan.
Exactly. And that's
so it's they're stepping in the right direction, especially forcing the Switch, have more people on.
Exactly, and that will be a perfect stress test for Nintendo's first dive into actual servers, really, because let's face it, Monster Hunter fans are really, really rabid, and they actually are one of those fan bases that will be constantly on.
Oh yeah. I mean, even in the wiki of Monster Hunter, it's still active.
Yeah, so I'm
always there.
What really, in this era of social media, for companies to actually, get in touch with fans, because we see that, the CEO here is, trying to make amends, essentially. He's talking about how they've disappointed fans in the past and wanting to, atone for that, and getting back to the era where, Sonic and Mario were competing head-to-head, essentially.
Those Olympic Games?
I don't think that's what fans want. But although they did really sell fairly decently, so, I mean...
didn't they have one every year?
Every...
Of the Sonic Mario games? I hated that. I mean, they were good, but it was just almost as consistently bad as like any other sports game, just trying to capitalize every year.
Yeah, I think it was every year we had a Olympic game, so basically every 2 years. It was It was still, you know, like one of those things that didn't need to exist.
Actually, no, I think it was like because the Olympics aren't they every 4 years?
Yeah, but I mean, you have the summer games and the winter games. So,
oh yeah.
And it's one of those things that like we seen, you know, the fact that they sold decently well, so we're just going to continue to release them because obviously people like them. What it really boiled down to is the fact that there were limited games on the Nintendo consoles at the time, and that fans, especially the parents of the fans, oh, it's a Sonic, oh, it's a Mario. Those are two names I know. My kids like those.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I was pretty disappointed with the Nintendo Switch when they, when they had the Mario Kart, was it 8 Deluxe version?
Yep.
I was like, ugh. I'm like, come on, give me a break.
Instead of releasing a new title, they just made a remake.
Yeah, they just slap on a few new characters and
the Inklings and
Deluxe.
Link. And they added the double item block.
I mean, in a sense, it was good because their lineup wasn't particularly strong. I mean, they did have, the Legend of Zelda holding that up.
But I
so
mean,
it would only make sense if they put in like a solid, Mario Kart game in there, even though it's like, a deluxe version.
Yeah, but the counterpoint to that was, to most people they're like, but it's also on the Wii U, and I already own this one.
Yeah, that was kind of a bad choice. They should, if they really want to push the console, they should,
say, yeah,
resub.
We remember we said we were making it for the Wii U, but no. We're Nintendo. You love us or fuck off.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, even when they came out like the Twilight Princess over and over and over again, I was just like,
let it die.
Let it die. I mean, honestly, I'd like to see it on the Switch now because, I mean, the Switch is, superior than the Wii U in graphics. So, I mean, it's a big difference in gap. But, like, if you keep remastering it on every console, it starts to, lose taste. And that's why I think Halo, the Master Chief Collection worked. Or just the Combat Evolved remaster really well. Because there was an actual gap.
Mm-hmm. And that's... that's the downside to all things Nintendo, really, is, like, they've capitalized on this market of, like, nostalgia, especially. Like, you saw, especially with, like, the NES titles, they were remastered originally for the GBA, and that was just a remake console. And then with the DS, they're like, oh, well, we have the DS store, and we can sell them to you again. And then essentially we saw it with the 3DS and the Wii and the Wii U and all that shit with the virtual consoles. And like, there are people, and this has been touched on off topic, what I molded a lot of this podcast from is like, they talked about like, if you throw it to me at the Switch at this point, I can get rid of my 3DS. I will give you $5 again at this point. If I can load off, one or two of these consoles that are just sitting here collecting dust at this point.
Yeah, I mean, my Wii U's collecting dust right now. Now, I gotta say, Nintendo is taking a step in the right direction with having new icon characters. Like, for example, one of their biggest games currently right now is Splatoon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they still sponge off of, like, Mario and Sonic, or like the Legend of Zelda per se, Link, but they're trying to push the indie games like Splatoon and stuff.
Yeah, and you see other franchises sadly getting buried, like the F-Zeros and the Star Foxes and all of that. And I'm not counting the atrocious game they released for the Wii U that was a Star Fox title as anything to do with Star Fox. Like,
I don't think I actually played that one. There was one on the 3DS that was the remastered.
Yeah, it was Star Fox 64 on the 3DS. I can't steer; it won't move.
Like, that was actually one of those titles I wanted to get, and I never.
I saw the reviews for it, and like I saw the fact that the motion tracker was so goddamn abysmal that you'd be lagging like 30 seconds behind.
Oh, what?
I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll get it.
I mean, the first game I got for the 3DS was The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Yep. For the 3DS when I got it, I got the Ocarina of Time. I got the I think it was Mario. It was one of the Mario games. Mario Brothers 2, the new Super Mario Brothers 2, with like the golden mushroom and shit. And then
Oh yeah.
I got Rayman 3D.
Actually, Rayman 3D wasn't a bad game. Another game I got was oh fuck, what was it? Resident Evil Mercenaries, which actually that was a really good game on it.
Yeah. And it wasn't the first time that it's been on a Resident Evil had been on a handheld either. So I mean.
Yeah, they had Revelations on there too.
Yep. I bought that. There was one that was like Deadly Silence, I think. It was 3D or original DS, I think. I know there was another one, Resident Evil Gaiden on the fucking Game Boy.
What the hell is that?
It was
Resident Evil Gaiden.
It was a pile of dog shit, but it was fucking funny.
Oh.
It's one of them that I'd like to actually get again because I've slowly been sweeping up all the Resident Evil titles again. Since I moved and lost a bunch of shit throughout my life, I'm like, now that I actually, have some form of income of my own, I'm like slowly building up my retro collection. Like everything that I wanted or lost, I'm just slowly getting.
Mm-hmm.
The one title I will never, ever, ever buy normally will be Earthbound.
Yeah, because that is like a lot of money. It's like you go on eBay and you're just like, yeah, I just want to buy some Earthbound. Oh shit, yeah, no.
No, I'm good. I'll buy it on the Virtual Console. Fuck this shit.
Curse you, scalpers! Just because it has good reviews doesn't mean you have to put it for hundreds of dollars.
I saw one new in box, fucking for like $1,000. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll take a bullet first.
It's kind of funny, even like the old NES cartridges, for example, like the golden Legend of Zelda cartridges are actually less money than the original ones. I'm like, it looks so good and shiny. Nah, it's less money. It's like, what?
I don't know if it was the fact that the golds were the original prints or the gray cartridge were the original prints. I don't know what it was.
I think it was because the grays were the original prints.
Ah, well.
Like, it don't, like, for example, like a lot of the old classic NES games, you know how they have the black box set? Like, those are more expensive than the remakes. Yeah, so if you ever see, like, an NES game, like, the classic titles like Mario, Duck Hunt.
Yeah, with the black box.
If they have, like, a black background on the art, they're usually worth more money than, like, the bundled versions, like the one that comes with Mario and Duck Hunt. There was some that actually came with like 3 games or 4 games, and those are extremely rare.
Like, I know one that I saw recently, and this is a rarity to ever see this at a retro shop, is I saw a World Championship title, and I'm like, as much as I want that.
Wait, like, was it? It wasn't the purple one, right?
No, it wasn't the purple one. I will have swept that up. I will win in credit card debt for that shit.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not the purple ones aren't expensive. They're just like rebrands, and you can still play it. It's cool, but like there's 2 of them. There's
the ones that are like the speed runs.
Yeah, and then there's the gold one, which not a lot of people have because they had like 5 of them.
Yeah, I've never seen one of those in my life.
I'm honestly surprised you actually seen one of them.
I saw one of them. It was like $400 or $500. I'm like, as much as I want that, I'm not going in debt for that.
He's like,
do I need my lungs or?
What you should have done is you should have took a picture of it and be like, I've seen it before, okay, guys? That's all that matters.
I've seen it. That's all that matters. No amount of credit card
debts
for
in its presence.
But I'm like, it's so rare to see them, and it's so rare to actually, see some of these titles actually. Like, I saw a fucking a Virtual Boy game at the retro shop the other day too. I'm like,
I've actually seen a Virtual Boy at like a flea market. I've actually used one of those things.
I have one still.
They're cool, but they're just like they strain your fucking eyes.
They really do. Like, I think that's part of the reason why I wear glasses is because I fucking spent so much time in that damn thing. Like, it was the red on black that really caused the eye strain, and that's why they took it off the market rather quick. But it was one of those, first, dives into the VR aspect of reality and, gaming.
Actually, technically, there was some games that were actual virtual reality, and some of them were just like, 3D. That was about it.
Yeah.
Like Robo Fighter, I believe it was called. That was virtual reality.
Yeah. But this is what, like, the first, mainstream attempt that I can, consider, marketable and successful. It's just one of those things that, like, I wish they would have made it better, because we might actually, still have had more than, like, I think 30 titles for the damn thing.
Yeah, that's about it. They had, like, a handful. I mean, at least it wasn't as bad as, like, I think there was, like, those Tiger Electronic games?
Oh my god.
You know what I'm talking about, when they tried to imitate the virtual boy?
Yeah,
with the headset and thing.
Yeah. Like, the only thing that comes to mind with Tiger anymore is the really shitty, ports that are like handheld games that you would sit there that took 2 AA batteries and you took to the shitter with you.
Yeah, they got that. I still have my Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yep.
One. It was like palm sized.
Yeah, it was literally
big,
like,
and it took batteries, and it was just like, man. I mean, but it's better than the ones you got at McDonald's. So.
Yeah, it was literally like a discounted fucking, screen for a Game Boy, slapped inside of a piece of cheap plastic made in some third world country, and 2 AA batteries, and it's like, here, it's $10.
And then your parents would be like, "Oh shit, my kid would love this thing," and you're just like, "Wow."
I remember there was one that had like for Congo, had a pop-up light, so you could actually play it in the car. Something that Nintendo didn't think about originally, and add the like snake light, and now I can play Pokemon Red without standing on my desk like this under the light.
Pokemon Red.
Like, it's one of those things that, like, if a fucking third-party country thinks more about, that aspect of, like, oh shit, this has really poor backlighting, we should implement something here. It's why Nintendo actually has this issue with, like, oh, yeah, well, remember, always support the initial release, the official one, but, that Nikos dock, you don't have to hook it up to your TV, and you can sit there. Oh, wait, it breaks your system now.
Yeah, there was a lot of... that's the reason why there's a lot of parties capitalizing on certain accessories.
Yeah, like, for example, like, Afterglow for the headsets.
Yeah.
Because they actually have, like, real bass in them. The ones that come with the Xbox One and the PS4. Especially the PS4's bundled headset. Which is,
oh my god, are you talking about the little
tiny earbud
one?
Yeah,
that
like,
fucking thing sucks, and it hurts your ear. It's just
like at least put a rubber thing on it, for fuck's sake.
At least Xbox did okay. Like, when I got my console, they actually had the, like, almost like the original Xbox 360 one. It's modified, obviously, and it was more comfortable too.
Yeah, it was a lot more comfortable. But the little earbud for the PS4 was garbage.
It was just like, here you go, here's a little...
It's like a little NSA earbud that you put around your neck and just clip it on there like, yeah, I see him. He's at Apple's. Oh, shit. Oh, it died.
Like when the Xbox had it, they had like a D-pad control volume and everything.
Yep.
A PS4 has like a little dial thing on there.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Oh, right. It wasn't made here. It was made, I think the headset was like made in Mexico, and then the parts were shipped out to like Japan, and then assembled in the USA. I'm like, you can't tell me this went through 3 fucking countries. I can make my own here in my workshop.
Yeah,
but
that PS4 thing was just.
But
good
the
console, just poor choice for headsets. Like,
yeah. I mean, aside from that, I've had no issues with the PS4, aside from having to reinstall the firmware once when it shut off, because I lost power during an update, and like it bricked it, and I'm like, oh, well, shit, well, go into safe mode, flash that, cool. I need to install this new hard drive anyway. Now I have a reason to.
I mean, it's kind of ironic because I still have my default headphones for my PS4. Just
I
in
do too.
case
I've been through 2 PS4s technically. I had one that for some reason my power strip didn't actually protect it, and it shorted out the PSU. I'm like, do I want to wait 4 weeks to ship it out to Sony and then 4 weeks for them to ship it back, or do I want to drop what I have on my debit card? Yeah, fuck it. And then I got this one, and then the other one I still have that one's headset because by then I'd already had these, and I'm like, fuck it, I don't need to use it. It's sitting in the Ziploc bag in my drawer.
Have you ever went through another Xbox One, or you just stood with the main one you've had the whole time?
Well, I waited long enough to actually capitalize on the Xbox One S. So I have the Battlefield 1 edition of the Xbox One S.
Yeah.
I haven't had any issues with it, aside from sometimes it won't see my network. And then I'll just...
Yeah, that does happen. That's atrocious on Xbox Ones and One S's. Like, you'll turn it on, and then it won't detect your network. Or sometimes what happens, it does. It just takes, like, a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, this wouldn't happen on PlayStation.
This wouldn't happen if I had the modem in my bedroom instead of in the living room as well.
Yeah.
Because normally I just hardwire everything because it's better.
I mean, honestly, I would think that happens because the console's so freaking old. I mean, I've had my Xbox One X for, like, years.
Exactly. It's
I think it's just... honestly, I think it's just crap in the bed by now, but it still runs.
It could be. At this point, I'm just waiting to, get the One X. But I'm sure by the time Christmas comes along, they'll have like 30 different bundles for the One X that aren't PUBG.
Hey, you wanted PUBG? No.
No, I already own it on Steam, and I already own it on the Xbox. I don't need another copy. I'm not too fond of it on Xbox right now.
I will fucking cry if they decide to bundle it up with Fortnite. I swear to God, I will cry. I'll be like, oh, you guys didn't.
You guys didn't. No. God damn it. Fucking Thanos is in Fortnite right now.
Have you seen the gameplay of it, though?
I'm like, I'm impressed and disappointed.
Like, you see him grab the Infinity Gauntlet, and he just flies up in the sky and just starts
dun dun dun, Superman! Oh, wait. Wrong copyright. I'm sorry, guys.
That shit made me cry. I'm like, this shit is retarded but funny at the same time.
Like, I was looking at the gameplay. I'm like, now can PUBG implement Justice League? Wait, what's their main villain? Oh, right, the writers. Zack Snyder appears as a villain in the PUBG map. Take out your aggression on him.
Human body bag.
This is for ruining Batman and Superman and every other DC property, you fucking hack.
Everyone starts beating him up with fucking frying pans.
Like, I can't be mad, but at the same time, it'd be fucking funny if they did it.
They just need a hateable character that's weak and just throw it in there and be like,
Here's Pingu the Penguin. Remember that, kids?
the claymation penguin.
Doot doot. Half of you have only ever seen him in memes. Let's not be lying here, people.
I've actually watched the episodes of that show.
I have too.
Really weird.
It is.
It's like in some other language. I'm like, what the fuck are they saying?
Does this have subtitles?
Exactly, and of course they didn't. So you just laugh at the fact they were making like really retarded animations and flapping their wings like.
Yeah, I'm like, and then there's the whole like rumored banned episode where it just goes really dark into like some. Have you ever seen those theories? Like,
I think I've seen it.
Like they have ones for like Courage the Cowardly Dog and all this other shit. I'm like,
yeah.
No, I'm like, Courage was already bordering on dark as a kid. The shit that they said in this like theory of a banned episode, I'm like, nah, that's that's crossing the line even for courage. It's bad enough the fan theories of that everybody was like flesh puppets at the end.
Oh yeah, the ventriloquist episode.
Yep.
The strings and stuff. Yeah, I seen that one.
Like, and people just bought that as like, people bought that as like canon. I'm like, okay, you do you, weirdo.
I'm like, I don't believe it. I won't accept this truth.
Like, and then, I mean, I think we've pretty much touched on everything this time.
Yeah.
Like, we see, like, there's two others here that are just, like, that I'm going to actually bring in, like, in Azazel symbol, you know, bringing them up here. Like, we saw that with the success of, like, the Shattered Grid, that Power Rangers cast members are, like, marketing towards, like, a Shattered Grid TV series. Mm-hmm. And now that Hasbro owns the IP, how things will potentially shift into that with the new season. And we also saw that, like, even, like, David Yost, who played the Blue Ranger in the original series, which was actually mistreated on set, was, like, willing to step back into the fray if they do, like, a reunion series of, like, that kind, essentially. Which would be interesting. And then, you know, kind of, like, after how he was treated on set, one of those things that, like, do you want to sell your, you know, the stance that you walked out after being treated differently for being gay on set? You know, like, there was the whole thing, like, there's the Black Ranger was black, and then the Asian Ranger was yellow, kind of thing. And they're like, oh, the racially stereotyping, and then all that is, like, one of those weird things, like, that's why those two actually left.
I think the blue was the nerd.
Yeah, the blue was the nerd, and then came out of the closet, and then he was treated like a second-class citizen on set because he was gay. It was, unfortunately, the times that they shot it in, essentially. It's one of those things I'll probably touch on in a Azazel's Den video. And then, obviously, this one here would be one that I would actually want to talk to Thurman about.
Thurman, you need to get out of work, buddy.
Yeah, it was one of those that's like, because Butch Hartman had got he had left Nickelodeon, and then he's potentially joining Cartoon Network, and it was actually posted by his official YouTube channel, so that's something I'll call him into the Azazel's Den video for as well.
That's interesting.
That's one of those things, like, I'm enjoying the fact that he's working again, and at the same time, I just picture his talents being wasted at Cartoon Network at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you got a point. Knowing how Cartoon Network just totally sucks because all they do is shit out Teen Titans Go, as you like to say it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not even the fact that it's just Teen Titans Go. It's like everything's become soulless to them. Like, look at all their major cartoons at this point. They're all utilizing the same, like, skeletal models, and they're just slapping a different look on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then Butch Hartman is known for creating, you know, these unique characters with actual personalities and souls and, you know, an actual story. And it's not a meme of the week humor. So it's one of those things that I'm, like, glad he's working, but also scared.
Yeah, Cartoon Network. I mean, let's just see how this branches out.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he can reinvigorate some actual talent into the network, and maybe I'm just being too cynical because I'm used to the fact that Cartoon Networks, you know, kind of sold their soul. But, well, time will tell if it lasts, or if, you know, quality improves, or if it just continues to tank. We've already seen how they treated, like, the Steven Universe and ending, you know, Adventure Time at this point. You know, they're slowly whittling down what they have for IPs, and then they announced, like, the Infinity Train and a couple other cartoons, so maybe his talents will go to work there, and something that's new and not complete and utter garbage, but only time will tell.
Let's hope.
But, yeah. At this point, thanks for tuning in. We've been on the air for about 2 hours, 2.5 according to this, but you were joining a bit late. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we have more people next time, and hopefully this becomes the new the new norm of like having the podcast on a Thursday because we have more people available usually. Unfortunately, with Red just starting, like we said at the beginning, he is basically making up his hours for his orientation at this point. So until next time, peace.